Test, test, test. All right. Should be good to go. So we had the buys yesterday on the 2-2-day SPY, the 2-2-day Qs, and that's why we didn't have much of a nightly vid. Nor, did we have much of a signal list, because the day before was when everything reversed, as we said would happen. So SPY and Qs still good from yesterday. Now we will have some inside days, and it looks like Dow Jones is gapping up. So you can see it's just confirming what's already going on and gapping right into its magnitude to start the morning. If we go to small caps will still have their inside day, so they'll be closer to the inside bar reversal up, which has a magnitude up into 287.58 if we are above 283.56. So small caps would be the only one that has a signal this morning you could play off of in the indexes. And if we take a look at some of Sarah's list from yesterday, we're going to see Space Mobile, ASTS. Near the bottom of its broadening formation, it looks like it's going to open as a 2-up day. Now, this could become RevStrat as a 1-3, so we don't have to be the first ones in there this morning, but nonetheless, it's on the inside day list for us. Circle Internet Group opening flat. It looks like they had some earnings. You might have a 2-2-2 day in there, but we'll have to see. And then IonQ opening flat inside day in your quantums. So just a few inside days from Sarah's, which makes sense. We had almost everything go 2-2 reversal yesterday. Therefore, you're not going to have many setups. Now, there will be some momentum hammer setups, which we have about 3 minutes, so I'll try and quickly get a few of those up to show you. But the main culprits are really going to be your semiconductors and whatnot, which you can see Doji, MU. So it's like they're starting to tighten up in the semis, slow down just a little bit. Looks like AMD's Doji as well. SMH, Doji. So I think it's okay to slow it down a little bit as we go into today. Plus, the only other thing to mention here is we do have them doing a vote on the Clarity Act, and that's coming at 10:30. Now, it's not going into law today, but last time they had the Clarity Act, or the Genius Act pass, this step, there's still some moves in the crypto market. So I'm personally under the impression it's going to be one of the most important things as this act works its way through our government, because it will change finance. It will change money, potentially forever, when and if they pass it. And I think it's just a matter of time. So we'll see how that goes. And that's going to be at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, I believe. So an hour after market open, right on the flip, is when we can expect to see stuff coming out about that. That being said, market's going to be opening up any minute now, just about 2 minutes. And you're going to need to give me 2 minutes. And I'll be right back for market open. And to be prepared, these are the 3 things we'll be watching to start off the morning. I'm not in the biggest rush today. It's been a very good week to start off, and most of the signals fired yesterday. So I'll be back in just a minute. right, so here is the morning open. You'll see Dow Jones starts gap up sell to start off the day, but nowhere near going outside. SPY starts the day confirming the upside. Semis starts the day inside bar and red. Qs starts the day inside day and green. So Qs is still holding from yesterday. SPY is still holding from yesterday's reversals. Silver did go 322 day down. So you got a broadening formation in silver. They're likely to triangle they out at 75.15 silver. In the chips, with semis being a little weaker, QCOM goes inside day down. It's one of the weaker chips. AMD is close to follow it. ASTS goes inside day up from Sarah's list. ASTS, Space Mobile. Now, ASTS could also become the RevStrat PMG down if that were to reject. So you don't have to be the first one in there, but it does go inside day up Sarah's list. So if it's above yesterday's highs, that's a bullish thing, but it's got to stay that way. So while they're selling off QCOM, they're still buying NVIDIA, which means from last week, Wednesday, you should still be long if you're playing the strat the way the strats. No reversal against, it's up 15% from the outside week buy at the bottom of the broadening formation. That's pretty good stuff. Still good, NVIDIA. QCOM hits target 1, and so you can see direct conflict where they're selling NVIDIA. They're buying some stuff like MU potentially for the outside day MU this morning. And they're selling QCOM. And that also does mean QCOM hits target 1, so that's short-term exhaustion risk. I'd really love to see ASTS kick in as a rev strat. For now, they tick up, and then they do start to reclaim just by a few pennies in there. But we need a signal. You'll have MU setting up your hammer in 20 seconds to go outside day from the mother bar reclaim on the 60-minute. ASTS, it looks like they're still staying up there. So they're still staying firm. Second fivers of the day, ASTS, they're still buying, reconfirms. MU closer to the 225ers up. And QCOM goes inside fiver at low a day. There's MU breaking the fivers up. You go to semis, hammer fivers up, so that tells you MU trying to go outside day. Semis, simultaneous fivers. So we can see Q's 2-up day again, reconfirming. And notice yesterday, so what we look for, 2-2 reversal day creates a winning trade because it closes $5 above your entry signal. Then they come back to buy more. So that's a good thing. That's what you're looking for. You want to hold it and then add if they come back to buy more, or hold. Now the thing is it is continuation. So it is unlikely to go instantaneously at yesterday's highs, but it does reconfirm what we know to be true. And that signal from yesterday on the daily is still good as we go to our all-time highs Qs. And you see SPY is the same thing. Dow is still gap up selling the Dow Jones. Fivers back down. Then IWM went fivers down as well, trying to rev strat the day as a 1-bar rev strat, outside bar, to drop about 5 points from the reclaim to the magnitude. So still seeing some conflict where they're buying SPY and Qs, selling down IWM, and that hasn't changed yet. QCOM is trying to give you the rev strat day back up after daily magnitude is reached, second 5 minute of the day. So that gives you QCOM reclaim, potentially a 14% move to the upside in QCOM. That's pretty wild. And you'll have like maybe a 225er. Ideally, you'd look at like that hammer 10er or look for the 2215er. It would last longer if they're going to try and firm things up there. If we go to semis, though, nice hammer rev strat semis. Did we know on the second fivers of the day, MU and semis? Yes. Boom. Almost 1% on one 5-minute signal. And you can see the inside bar, followed by hammer, followed by 2-2 reversal, and that's the strat, baby. Get. SPY goes high of day as well. So everything from yesterday that we said about buying SPY and Qs from the Tuesday nightly vid, still true. Still true. And therefore, everyone with us yesterday, you're good. You can just sit back for now. ASTS does reclaim yesterday's highs, so if you're looking at the put side, you could be looking at ASTS on that reclaim if you'd like to. And I wouldn't go any further than like the 75 or 74 put there, but it does look pretty interesting. Green to red move on the daily ASTS just now. While Qs goes to the highs. So we will see. They want to rev strat that thing. AVGO, day done. Let's see. Yep, nice hammer 2-2 reversal. And you can see the strat. It's just beautiful. 3 broadening formations in here. Slight lower hammer. Gone. Crazy. Good stuff. Affirm also has a hammer day in here. They haven't kicked in yet. Right from the bottom of the broadening formation. Tech is almost at its magnitude. Energies, they're confirming the upside at XLE. OIH confirming the upside, and OIH is one of my favorites, as we know this year. ASTS is almost full time from continuity down, 225ers down. So they're trying to rev strat it, but it's got to be in force. The only way you get outside bars is if you have signals in force. So MU, the 5er signal, gone. No more 5er signal MU. That is exhausted. Semis, 5er signal, gone. So you can see right when that signal exhausts, that's instantly when profit taking occurs. Now it isn't reversing, so it's nowhere near reversing at this point. So we'd prefer to see things stay firm, but you got to defend if you're playing those 5ers. They only last 5 minutes. SPY still at high day. Ripper. And you can see it's broadening expansion into all-time highs. which is what we're looking for. So you got all day to see if these things really want to go. That's for sure. MU trying to reconfirm. So you can see it closes well above our entry. What we want to see is continuation break. And MU above this, 802. Give us that outside day. And there it is, right there. And what that continuation does is it shows you they're still buying. Still true. The whole reason you bought it on the reversal is because it reversed and there was a buyer there. And that has not changed. Boom. Nice continuation break. Dow Jones firmed up on the fivers. IWM is still weaker. We don't have any thoughts. So we can't give you any thoughts, but we can't tell you what we know to be true. Tesla inside day doing nothing. Tesla 2-up week break green, nowhere near changing that. So what is this? Profit taking conflict. So when you look in here on the 60, Tesla makes a lower low and it's still inside day, which means this is your broadening formation. The size of your range is about 0.8%. How are you going to get outside of that? You are tight in here. This is the Warner triangle. How are you getting outside of this? Nowhere near. ASTS looks like they firm back up. So for now, the daily open, they're still below it, but they're not enforced to the downside, so they're not able to change anything here yet. Q's and SPY get. We nailed the bottom buy on Tuesday. We nailed any 2-2 reversal days yesterday, and it's still good today. So get. Just tell it to get. Now silver still coming in for its daily magnitude down in here after we mentioned that yesterday as a reclaim of all the broadening formations. So they are doing that triangle layout thing. Semis off the fiver, up about 1% now. It does look like MU, they continue, but they're doji on the fiver, so we need to see them stay up there. If they go 2-2 fivers, then we will have to see a new signal. They're going outside. Use still broadening formation expansion. SPY still broadening formation expansion. Down IDBM. You can see IDBM on the 2-2 fivers down. Boom. Finishes off its magnitude. So you get your outside fiver and your outside 60. Now still rev stratting the day though on IWM. Then Dow Jones is still gap up sell at the top of the daily chop 'em up broadening formation here. New fivers open. MU, that buyer is still present. So you can see still good from the 2-2 fivers. It has not come back. Dow Jones goes 2-2-2 fiver momentum down. Dow Jones. So Dow Jones still gap up sell industrials. This is the second 15ers of the day. So it looks like MU, they tried to take them up and they stay inside. So we're not getting that outside day follow through that we want. We could still see it happen. It just might take a triangle layout or two to make her do it. ASTS on the second 15s of the day, 2225er momentum back up. So doing the opposite of Dow Jones, and you'll see Dow Jones on the 222 back down, coming into low a day here. To go 15ers 22 reversal down would be what Dow Jones is doing. Qs still a buy, still good. Above 716, you can see they're just expanding, still good. And you tell it to get. Stay up there and get. And we would call this exhaustion risk, right? Once everyone's long this thing, we will see profit taking, but you know, that might happen now. It might happen 3 hours from now. We'll have to see. For now, they are nowhere near reclaiming that stuff. Now, if we get to the NASDAQ futures, NASDAQ futures are actually right at the highs and right at the top of their broadening formation here as well. So if we go to like a 15-minute, you can see triangle down, triangle up, and then right here, this is the top of NASDAQ future broadening formation. ASTS gave us outside fiber back down. So lower highs trying to go 15ers down ASTS. This is what we want to see if we're going to get that outside day rev strat into 71 and 70 bucks on ASTS. And you can see how that's now going to try and cause the rev strat 1 bar outside bar pattern. MU 15ers break 322. Fun to say and fun to do. Give us outside day. And I'm up 20% on MU Friday expirations. Now what we want to see is when it breaks that outside day, anyone who's been selling MU, look at all these pivots. We want to blow them out of the water. Right? We want to go just boom, take them all out and like jump up into 830 or as high as we can get it. But it's got to break those pivots. That's what's going to cause things to really kick in if they're going to. Right now you can see Qs is still stalling out. Pretty much just sitting right at high day. Now it's not bearish, but I want to see them all push if it's going to get MU to go since it's a laggard. MU, another high day, so that buyer's still present. We just got to blow them out. Give us that outside bar, MU. Q's almost back to the highs as well. CoreWeave went 2 up, momentum hammer day. Let's see it. Yep. And boom, right there. 112.98. Now you got to stay above that to create a winning position, though. So got to stay up there. You got inside fiber cooking up in CoreWeave. We also have outside fiber to go 3-2 down in ASTS. If they're going to kick that 15er down and that day down, ASTS, you got that 3 on the fiber. And 3s are technically signals. They cause things to happen. So does it stay down there or does it reclaim that 3? It does look like Dow Jones fails to take the morning lows. So Dow firms up, which is a good thing just overall for the market because SPY's already going up and Qs is already going up. So we'd prefer, if SPY and Qs are going to keep following through, that Dow and IWM start joining suit. But for now, IWM is still right at the lows of its morning outside 15er. still looks pretty bad because it's nowhere near changing the day. So it's still closer to giving you an outside day today. MU does start pulling back. You can see they're just shy. Just a penny away from giving us our outside day. So that is at risk of, going against us. Want to make sure we defend there. Moving stops towards price or break even. Or reducing / exiting. However you want to defend. And what I'd still prefer to see is like inside 5 or momentum up or something in MU, but they might have to triangle that out a little bit. Q's is still nowhere near reversing anything, which is going to help MU. If we can get Q's, you can see on the 1-er, 3-3 ticks down. If we could try and get them to go 3-3 back up, reclaim all this stuff, might help out. And if we go take a look, Dow Jones still gap up and sell. Biotechs gap up, sell almost an outside day. Energies, they did firm up this morning, but they're giving back some of their gains. Small caps are still gap up, sell. Materials, sell. Gold miners, silver. Gold is recovering, but those are all a sell. Real estates was a sell today. So to start off the day, they're buying tech and semis. They're selling a lot of boring stuff. That's kind of the gist. Small caps and Dow. Materials, biotechs, real estates. And then they also sold some healthcares, but it recovered. So kind of opposite to what we saw earlier in the week on Tuesday, when they were selling everything, or selling all the tech and semis, buying everything else. It's kind of the opposite. Only buying tech and semis, selling everything else. And that does tell us that it's easier to reverse the market down because you already have leadership on the downside. IWM has a magnitude to go outside day. Technically, Dow Jones does as well. So that's something to take note. ASTS is in force on the 15er. That's going to try and cause your outside day for about 6 minutes here. We go to Oracle. Let's see. Is Oracle recovering? Well, it's inside day, so you got to change that. But on the 15-minute basis, it goes inside 15. So it's not recovering. It's firming up, though. Goes inside bar. Which could make it recover because broadening formations exist. So you got inside signal. If they're gonna recover, it'd be the 2-1-2 reversal up into the highs. And that would occur in 6 minutes on the 30-minute flip, the second 30 of the day, decoupling. In the healthcare's interesting name, AbbVie, ABBV. It's inside day up in force with some targets, 211 to 1487. Above, it's also inside week up in force, trying to cause full-time firm continuity up. So AbbVie. And that happens while healthcare is pulled back down this morning and then go inside 15er. So AbbVie has to be relatively strong in healthcares if those healthcares recover on the second 30s of the day. SPY goes 3-2 reversal 5er. So they are coming off the highs a bit. SPY and Q's. Q's goes outside 5er, 3-2 down. So we got some broadening formations kicking in at high day. Go back to your NASDAQ 100. We pointed out your resistance right up in here. So for the futures, guys, you got your rejection off resistance. Now we're right back in the middle of the broadening formation. Now what? MU goes inside 5ers down. So no longer still good on the 5ers. First reversal against occurs 1% higher. I'd prefer to see it RevStrat, right? We want to get that outside day, but for now, it's negating what we know to be true. ASTS, you'll see the 3 broadening formation goes down for 5 minutes and then 2-2 back into the broadening formation. So they're trying to take them out. However, if that were to fail, that gives us another lower high to try and give us that outside day. So we might get the 222 if they're going to continue on selling. But they firm up on the second to last fiver of the 30. Or no, the last fiver of the 30. So 2 up red doji to start off here. SPY, you can see they reclaim and come back into the 3. So they try and firm back up. Same with Qs. 3 on the fiver and then reclaim the 3. So it is a broadening formation on the Qs and the SPY. And see MU is trying to rev strat that fiver. That's what we want to see. So we can give us outside fiver or a 122, give us that outside day up into about 820. Intel gap down, 2215's up. That was a very good setup, but however, it just didn't work. So you might have to get that triangle day out entry. You can see they triangle out the tight stop guys on the fiver, and then you'd get the 2-2 if they were to firm things up. If we go to semis, we just want to be careful of that 30 flip. You can see the broadening formation in here objectively. 3 on the 15er, that's a broadening formation. Then this morning it went down, hammer fiver to buy it. Boom, 3, that's a broadening formation. Then it goes up, and then it starts coming back in. In 2 minutes, the 15s close, and we could get 3-3-2-2 in semis, which would change what's going on here. So mind that, right? Intel, they might have not bought it, it didn't work, because semis is not going to follow through. So we're going to mind the flip. You got 30... Well, you got 3 minutes till the flip occurs. I still really like MU, and I really want to see these go, but we'll have to see. We got now 1 minute 40 seconds. Early on a 1-bar rev strat. Yeah, so like when it goes 1, 2 down in green, yeah, you can just go boom, buy. Because it's supposed to go instantaneously. The second it flips green, it's supposed to just instantly start gunning. Or vice versa. So like when you look at semis, 3, 2 up in red 15, if this was a rev strat, you could just hit it the second that 15 goes red, and like boom. Or just like ASTS, we go in the day. Anytime this day is red, short. How do we know? Because rev strats exist. It's going to $69 if we're below 76. So we want to short it right at 76 and get that whole move, the whole thing, 10%. Then you tell it to puke. MU is coming back to our entry, so you can see it's going to stop you out, and that's okay. Unless you're, wide stop guy, giving it room to like the daily open. But for now, you can see that inside fiver, they rebroke, so it did not work. But ASTS, we got that lower high on the fiver, which is what we want. There's the 15-minute magnitude. And you see semis right here. The second that flips red, boom, potential outside bar. It starts kicking in. And that's always happening, all time frames. Because what you just did is you took everyone long SMH at high day, and you said, okay, now you're in a losing trade. And this is their stops going off. That's why that drops, so fast. So we got like a 15-second. You see, once it starts getting below that open, starts taking out everyone's stops and everyone's forced to sell. That's why it will happen. Yeah, but you don't want to do it on a 5-minute. Like the whole point is go do that on a monthly chart where it's going to go 40% if you're right, or 100%, 1000% if you're right. You can do it on a 5-minute, but that's really boring. Like the reason MU, for example, works down here on the day, right at the open, we buy it and it goes like 20% on Friday options in less than 10 minutes. Why does that happen? Because it's a daily, goes down and then the day flips green. So the daily move is to go 3%. It's not a 5-minute move. It's a 5-minute signal into the daily move. It's very different versus just a 5-minute rev strat. But you can see MU they did triangle they out. They're still good on the 15. There's still no reversals down on the 30s. We get our second 30s of the day. So semis, they go down, the new 30 opens, and they firm things up going inside 30 green. And you can see just how quick that was, right on the new 30. Let us see. So if we go look back to your broadening formation SPY and Qs, they're acting as support right now, staying outside of it. And you're going to see that's right here, time to buy the 30, right when that new 30 opens. If you go to Qs, wasn't as pretty as SPY, but they're still acting as support. The buyers are still trying to buy this above the previous range, which means the buyers are aggressive. They're willing to pay up. So we want to see them stay up there, SPY and Qs. All the entries from yesterday, the day prior, they're all still good. So we want to hold on to that if we can. Google's almost taken out the morning lows, just went green to red. They're still inside day, but it's going to affect your indexes potentially. Meta is still very strong. So if you bought Meta yesterday on Sarah's list, again, it's to create a winning trade. So you create it yesterday, $16, and then today they're still buying, so you're still good. Stick around. QCOM closer to inside 15 down to confirm the day down. So if semis do weaken up, QCOM is still one of the weakest ones we've got, with a target to 187 on QCOM for the broadening formation. MU, they go 225ers down. So they become a 2 on the 15. My bad, not 5ers, 15ers. But you'll see they're still inside 30. So they go 2 down, 1 to start the day. Dow Jones on the gappers is currently double inside 15. IWM, we had that big 3 in the morning on the 15er, and they reclaimed that. So for now, small caps are trying to firm back up with the semis, and tech still kind of just sitting at the highs inside 15, with Qs inside 15, and 30, SPYs inside 15 and inside 30 as well. We'd say IWM 32215, fun to say, fun to do. I missed out on being able to play that off the 15 break. But you might be able to get slight triangle out or something to take out the highs, since we know it's trying to take out all or the morning highs here and re-trigger the day. That does tell you stuff like Affirm as well. Could get going. It's currently 312 up 15ers trying to re-trigger the day. We also have Upstart inside 15ers up, which is interesting as well. You can see right at the daily open, that's where you get the first oneer corrective. So we're going to get this thing to explode. You want to see it go red and then go back to green, take out the sellers. But for now, you can see that seller at daily open, they're still willing to sell at that price. ASTS, they're still right at the lows, 3115er. IonQ's trying to do what? So my question is, we already made new highs. So we're at the top of the daily broadening formation, then we're coming back through the broadening formation. So right now we are 3-1, and this is a mess in here, tight range. We would prefer 3-1-2 down, not 2 up. Because we prefer to go outside bar broadening formation. Take one side of the range, target the other side. So that'd be a 5% move to your magnitude, which is where IonQ is trying to go. Give us that outside day. So just like ASTS, pretty much. And it looks like they're the exact same, 3-1-1. Interesting. We can see so far IWM not chasing. They're bringing them back in off the oneers still right from the daily open. So 2 down, 2 down, 2 down. They have not firmed back up yet. And that's why we don't want to chase. You want to let them triangle lay out first, and then you can try and, get after it. MU on the 2215's down. You can see they're still down, so still having some issues there. Right there, IWM, you can see on the oneer. Now they firm up after 1 minute magnitude. If it can go 2-2, you can see not yet. But if they could go 2-2, maybe that 15er starts kicking in again. If they're going to try and change what's going on there today. We go to the SPY, they're still consolidating here. We go to Qs, they're still inside consolidating. Dow is still consolidating. So it's really only IWM that they went to go and buy while the market goes slightly sideways. So it's not simultaneous break, which is what we are seeking out. You can see MU, they're still having issues here on the 15ers down. Firm daily trigger, let's see. Yeah, firm 222 day. It's true if it's above 65. If it's not above, that is not bullish. But yes, it rebreaks. Good stuff. Upstart or MU is about to change the daily open, or at least they're retesting that daily open. You see IWM, by waiting for them to triangle they out into the 1 minute magnitude and create the broadening formation, you at least time it properly. So if it's gonna work and actually give us that morning high, you get a nice tight stop and tight entry in here versus trying to just jam it into the highs and like go like this, right? Which almost never is going to work out well for us. So they're trying, but SPY and Qs are still consolidating. So it's just the small cappers that are moving. ASTS did firm up slightly, coming back into the morning range. If we go to the 30s, they're just inside this point. Qs is still just inside. Did a triple inside fiver, which is nuts. Closer to breaking down. SPY is closer to RevStrat fiver down. So still a lot of inside 30s pretty much across the board. Healthcares are some of the only ones that are going to the highs, which is AbbVie, firmer in the healthcares. Hammer 5-minute? What's that hammer 5-minute gonna do? Oh, late. Never mind. 5-minute only lasts 5 minutes, so what's it gonna do? It's gonna chop you to bits. Look at this. Unless you can get out of this broadening formation and stay above 80k here, you're gonna get chopped to pieces because you're trading right in the middle of consolidation, right? All of this stuff. It's gotta get above that if that's gonna break. SPY confirms the upside. Qs, they're still firm. IWM and Dow. IWM, they're still holding the higher low, but not going anywhere with the inside 5 currently. MU, after triangling them out, Pivot Machine Gun Fiver cooks up here with a 2 down in green setup to cause it to trigger. So potentially, when we look at semis, it's still inside Fiver right here and firm after slight 15 triangle they out during the inside 30 consolidation. MU target 1 gets hit. And they firm things up. Qs goes RevStrap Fivers up, firming things up. IWM is still firm, just hasn't broken yet. Double inside Fiver. So tech and semis still leading the market with SPY. Dow and IWM still a little bit flatter. SPY at the 15ers up, they're confirming. Q's is almost going to confirm with the 15s up as well. Just leaves IWM and Dow Jones to see if they're going to join or not. Tech is also confirming for now. And everything's inside 30, so we'll see semis 3-1-30 minute for another 12 minutes, getting a little stuck inside there. SPY is about to become a 2 up 30 with the Q's still inside up at the highs. And IWM 3-1-30 for the 3-1-2 Chicago. And Dow Jones inside 30, so a lot of consolidation or equilibrium. And that kind of bleeds over into everything. Materials weaker on the day as a 2-2 day down, and they are 3-1-30 now. Utilities 3-1-30. Industrials, they took out the morning lows. Energies across the board are inside 30s. Tech is obviously inside 30 with the semis. All the cruise lines are inside 30s across the board. All the airlines are also inside 30s. UAL is a little weaker. Delta is a little weaker. Oh no. Looks like the Jets ETF is only inside 30 airlines. So a little bit of weakness in airlines, but a lot of inside 30s cooking up. SPY, you see, still acting as support to the broadening formation from yesterday, so still good. You can see IWM, while they chop them up a bit, slight lower low, so now they're starting that broadening formation over. Very small, inside 30, getting them stuck inside a bit. MU from the Pivot Machine Gun Fiver, they took out target 1 and now creating a winning position about 33 seconds that will close. And then what we want to see is we want to see them stay up, just like the Fiver in the morning. Because if we're going to see them really rip through this Pivot Machine Gun, we should just go. Take them all out. And that would give us, 820. They're able to do it. We got about 10 minutes to the new 60 flip, so MU is still an inside 30 with a lot of the rest of the market. MU reconfirms, so that tells you that PMG, they're trying to take them out, even though they're inside 30. But it's got to stay that way. We always say stay up there. Silver is starting to recover after the 15ers on the second 30 of the day. So gap down silver, they might go gap down buy with full time frame continuity. The weekly open is pretty much right where the daily open is. So that's a good thing for the silver trade. They firmed back up. If you look at gold, you've got a big outside 60 trying to rev strat the day. It's a little bit weaker than silver. I personally prefer silver or copper. If you look at copper futures, they're a little bit stuck in the middle of this broadening formation, making some higher lows in here, but copper futures are still really firm as well. So small caps, still no change. Fibers went inside down and they have not changed anything there. Still inside 30s for the flip. Materials about to take the morning lows out. So they're still having issues in the materials as well. And then our baby MU, give us 820 plus, right? We want to see that thing tear. Semis, you see off the inside fiver with MU, they're doing the same thing. Still inside 30 though, so unable to make the highs yet. And then ASTS, after the second 30 of the day flip, they are 3-130s right up at the highs, setting up. Already got your follow through. Let's see it. Good stuff. So this inside month, you can see it hits its magnitude, and then it's still true because it's still above the signal. So it's going to target 2. Now the fun part is not even up in here. The fun part is, can you take all this out? 27% higher. And you go to the day, you had the 3-2-2 fun to say, fun to do. And then do they come back to buy more? They do right here. Confirms. And this is the beauty in the strat, is once you get that, or even if you don't get this initial move, since you know the buyer's aggressive, you know how to get in there. You can get into anything. 3-2 reversal 60 in the morning. That would get you in if you're playing forward. So pretty cool stuff. Oracle, just like we told you. See how that inside 15 is at the bottom of the range, and then boom, inside 15 up, gone. Boom, gone. And now you have all these pivot machine gun on the left to be taken out because that worked. And this is what we mean when we say we have to time it. Bottom of the range, then the signal, then it reverses, boom, gone. By timing the bottom of the range. Very, very important stuff there. And it's not possible. It's already happening. You got it right off the signal. Very good stuff. I'm unable to find any links for this Clarity Act thing live. I don't know if they're going to have anything live about it, but let's see. So right here, forward above 1. What the heck is it telling me? 1480, 3-2 reversal quarter in forward pivot machine gun. So you're getting what you want. They came back to buy more. Above that. While that happens, they're still selling off the materials. Off the inside 15ers, they're still buying some tech. SPY, it looks like they made high day and they come back. So mind the rev strap potential on the futures, we're still right up at the highs. MU, looks like it took my stop out again. Those little fuckers. Well, we're going to have 2 minutes until the second 60s of the day open up, and the second 60s always confirm or negate. Similar to Oracle, when that went inside 15, on the second 30 of the day, it went 2230. So on the second 60 of the day, we want to see who's going 2-2, and you can look for those inside 30s to set that up. Let's go and find out. Looks like all the uraniums went bright red and then inside 30s at the lows with some weeklies kicking in. So Oklo, for example, RevStrat week is in force in Oklo with a magnitude to 62. It's not the biggest magnitude. Let's see. URA, they already hit weekly magnitude. So there's a lot of inside 33 ones in uraniums. Let's see if we can find something better. Ooh, coin, for example. Coin, you have the Hammer 60. We do have that Clarity stuff coming out. It's going to start coming out now. 9:30, so it's 10 EST. But coin, you have the Hammer 60, which might kick in. Maybe with Hood as well. We'll have to see. On the second 60 of the day, SPY opens inside green. Dow goes inside. IWM goes 3-1 inside. And IWM's closer to a 3-1-230 to cause outside day. So I would be mindful of IWM, which might kick in as an outside day broadening formation to RevStrat. Now, it is still an inside week, so you just be aware of that, but you'd have 30 minutes where that might kick in. Not finding many signals that are set up to break. I'm ripping through the list as fast as I can to see what's going on, and a lot of things are just going even more inside on the 60s now. At least a lot of the stronger things. Pfizer, 32230s down, trying to go outside day. Might be interesting. SPY on the second 60 of the day is inside in red now with the Qs. Closer to potentially a RevStrat 15 if that 60 was weak enough to kick them in. IWM is the weakest, though. Inside 15 to try and cause outside day. IBM getting a little love for a change. Yeah, and there's a reason for that. If you look left, we call that exhaustion risk. You can see we're right at the bottom of all this stuff. So what that shows you is everyone's short this name or everyone's gotten stopped out. So the short's got to cover. And that's what you saw a little bit of this morning, but is that going to follow through? Right now, IWM, that's the place to be looking on the puke side, on the short side. Because if SPY is inside 60 red, you know, it's probably not a short. Now, if IWM could take out the morning lows, maybe, you know, we could talk about that. Still has not taken the 30s. Dow is still inside 60, inside 30s as well. So we're still kind of wanting to see where these 30s going to break next, where these 60s going to break next, because we open this up. See all four indexes inside, semis, tech, energies, all energies, biotechs, healthcares, all healthcares. Discretionary takes the morning lows, XLY. So things like your Teslas, your Amazons, that could be a little weaker. You can see Microsoft is a 2 going 360 to go outside 60 of the outside 60. So a little weaker there. But a lot of inside bars. And these inside bars, again, whenever you get the market all going inside, it helps you find strength and weakness. So it's like NVIDIA. This goes 2 up 60, it has to be stronger than whatever Microsoft's doing right now. So Microsoft's bright red. So we can pick up strength and weakness, but we have to say that the market's, you know, consolidating. Everything's inside bar. That can change, and you can see right now they're still going after semis, and they're selling some Dow Jones, they're selling some discretionary, and we're going to see if it's, you know, where this is going to get better, where this is going to get worse. MU, they're still holding up inside 15, inside 30, inside 60, so they're starting to chop them up a bit there. NVIDIA 2 up 60s again, so that confirms the semis. You go to SMH, bright green to start off the 60s. So you might get QCOM, the inside 15 to cause inside 30 reversal if semis are going to follow through. It's a little weaker, but it's in there. NVIDIA has to be one of the strongest ones. Tech is also pounding the highs, so NVIDIA, Tech, semis, Qs still pretty firm right on the second 60 flip. SPY is also firm on the second 60 flip, so they're still buying tech and semis. CoreWeave is still firm as well, which is part of like your tech and semis play from the bottom of the triangle yesterday, and that momentum hammer today. So that's still staying true in CoreWeave. Still has a magnitude up into 123, potentially, you know, 140. SMH inside 30, 312 Chicago to the upside. Semis confirms NVIDIA. IWM still double inside 30. Dow Jones still inside 3060 as well. Bitcoin. So you had that fiver hammer. Now notice this. See how it's just staying out of the broadening formation. That's what you want to see. Once you get out of this broadening formation, that's when things can expand. But it's got to stay there. And it does look like there was something, some type of news or buying prior to Clarity Act stuff going on. So worth noting here, definitely. Semis to the highs, SPY to the highs, Tech to the highs, NVIDIA to the highs. You also got Oracle reconfirmed. So that buyer in Oracle still present. Oracle's still trying to go to 199 with a 3260. They're going to follow it up. It's got to be above 195.21 or else you got broadening formation risk. Oracle. That confirms SPY, Q, Semis, Tech, all confirm. So when we go to yesterday, we told you guys to buy SPY, Q, Semis, Tech Tuesday, literally at low of day, and then the 2-2 on Wednesday, above 738.84. So you're winning. You don't have to do anything. You just sit and you wait, because daily signals, when they work, they're going to follow through for multiple days with full time frame continuity, which is good stuff.
Follow the very real flaws in this bill.
All right.
Look, this bill is just not ready for prime time.
First, the draft in front of us would blow a hole in our securities laws that have protected investors since 1929. Most Americans don't want their pensions at risk so that a few crypto billionaires can juice their own profits. Second, this bill declares open season on defrauding American consumers who use crypto. The bill wipes out a huge number of state-level protections against fraud. Third, the bill puts our financial system at risk by repeating the mistakes of 2008, letting the banks load up on risky debts, letting them scrape off the profits, and then, when it all comes crashing down, come back to the American taxpayer for a bailout. Fourth, the bill puts our national security at greater risk. Just 3 days ago, the Treasury Department issued an alert warning that Iran is exploiting crypto businesses to move their money around. Multiple public analyses documents that drug cartels are shifting their money laundering to crypto, and, quote, the cops can't keep up. And finally, the bill doesn't lift even the tiniest finger to address the Trump administration's crypto-related corruption. Since taking office last year, President Trump and his family have amassed a staggering $1.4 billion in gains from crypto deals alone. No president And no one in Congress should be allowed to profit from crypto at the same time that they are enforcing rules to regulate it. This kind of corruption undermines our democracy, and it undermines the legitimacy of the crypto industry. It will keep right on growing if Congress fails to rein it in. Now, a year ago, some of you may remember, Republicans sat in this very room and made one promise after another as they passed the Genius Act. What did they promise? They promised we'll close the national security loopholes. They promised we'll address glaring ethics problems. They promised we'll fix the yield issue. Republicans told us not to worry about the gaps in the first crypto bill because the second bill, the bill we have today, would fix every one of those problems. Well, today we are voting on the second bill, and every one of those problems still exists today. And this time, the same Republicans are shutting down amendments that would make the fixes they promised a year ago. This markup is our chance to fix these problems. And until we fix these problems, none of us, Republican or Democrat, should advance this bill out of committee or onto the Senate floor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. I do want to make a couple of comments about the process that we've undertaken over the last several months, and particularly as it relates to some of the amendments that were taken out because they were not in order. After the amendment process had a walkthrough, Ranking Member Warren's staff objected to a Republican amendment on a technical drafting issue, arguing it should be thrown out because it referenced the wrong substitute amendment number. Once they insisted on that standard, committee staff reviewed in the full amendment roster to ensure consistency. Staff confirmed with the committee clerk in consultation with the parliamentarian and floor staff that there were amendments that were filed incorrectly. What I decided to do was to, as opposed to throwing all those amendments out, throw out only the ones that were the most egregious. So the process that we've actually gone through was to make sure that both sides had an opportunity. But this whole discrepancy started when staffers decided to target a Republican amendment. And frankly, as my colleagues on my right recognize, I threw out amendments on our side as well and had to talk to our folks about that. At this time, I'll recognize.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
might I reply on that? I appreciate the work we do together, but I want to correct the record on one important issue. It is your call and your call alone to rule these amendments out of order. When we talked last night, I made clear, I'm happy to have all of the amendments in, all of the Democratic amendments in, all of the Republican amendments in. You and you alone have decided which amendments are in and which amendments are out. And that creates a problem because there are some very important amendments that address some very important issues that I think we should hear from. So I will reiterate my lack of objection today. Let them all be heard. Let us vote on all of them.
Thank you. That doesn't change the fact on how we got to where we are, however. It was brought by my staff. It was brought by your staff, number one. Number two, let me just say this very clearly because I'm not going to go back and forth on this issue. Democrats have frankly worked hard on this bill. Our bill first came out in June of last year. Since June of last year, we've added 33,000 words, 219 pages in an effort to make this legislation as bipartisan as humanly possible. I can't imagine how much time Senator Alsobrooks has spent on this legislation. Frankly, during very difficult and challenging times, her focus remained on getting things done. And Tillis worked with her on parts of the very legislation that we're talking about where the negotiation allowed us to get to where we are. Gallego has spent a ton of time talking with members on this side, Bernie Moreno and others, trying to find a path forward. So the truth of the matter is, as frustrating as this process has been, without question, when I talk to members on your side of the aisle, including Warnock and Senator, we call her CCM, but Catherine Cortez Masto and Senator Warner, the one thing I can tell you, the entire process, we have disagreed vehemently, but respectfully and consistently, and working towards an end result that makes America better. As a kid who grew up in poverty, the thing that attracts me to this issue the most is democratization, an opportunity to lower prices, create access points that today does not exist. This ought not be about Republicans and Democrats. It ought not be about who's on which side of the aisle or whether you agree with what we've done. This should be about the American people and nothing else. I want single mothers like the one that raised me to have more opportunities, more access at a lower price. And so we will disagree on this today. But I hope that what we end up with is a legislative product that is good now and gets another bite at the apple as it heads to the floor. This is not over. And I hope that no one thinks that this is over. This process has been transparent, it has been hard, and it has been clear. And that's good news for the American people who are watching this process. I tried my very best to take the expertise of an AG who understands issues better than others. I worked really hard with folks who was a county supervisor, as I was, to understand the local impact in community banks. We've done a very good job of putting it together. Now, I'm a little long-winded because I wanted to be a preacher like Warnock. But it didn't work out for me. God didn't call me to that. He didn't call me to that.
Mr. Chair, stay in your lane.
Yes. Someone should say amen before he takes up an offering. But I'm just, here's the point. Here's the point. This is a real opportunity to move the ball forward. For a lot of people in a lot of places, that's losing confidence in American institutions. Let's not demonize because it's easy. Let's work together because it's hard and important. Senator Lummis.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of order.
Certainly.
Thank you. And I agree with you. I think we need to continue to move forward. And so in that vein, my question is, so we don't run afoul of this in the future, is the amendment, Cortez Masto 16, was ruled out of order.
Yes.
And can you explain why it was out of order? That would help me in the future.
Certainly. We asked all amendments to be written to the ANS, and the amendments were written to the Friday Clarity Act. Friday when we released the legislation, we asked the amendments to be written to the substitute language.
Right. And it was?
It was not.
How was it not? That would be helpful, just so I know.
It was written to the HR, and it is a strike and replace of text in the HR that was not in there because it's in the ANS. We talked to the floor, and they said if they had received an amendment like this, that it's a strike and replace, that it's written as a put in the appropriate place, it would not have been accepted on the floor.
So just so we have a clarification for the future for all
Certainly.
of us, so we don't get caught in
Yes, yes.
this or that, these are ours. I asked the parliamentarian if this was out of order, and she said no. And so I do think it will be helpful in the future so that we don't get caught up in this craziness and we still can move forward as a body that works together on amendments, has conversation, discussion, that we have an understanding of these amendments. So I just appreciate you taking my point of order.
Absolutely.
And for the record, I will submit the parliamentarian's response to the question that I had about my amendment number 16.
Without objection.
Thank you.
We will submit our conversation with the parliamentarian as well. Senator Lummis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start by a casual conversation among friends that are around this dais. Mr. Warner, thank you so much for working so hard on this bill over the last 9 months. Senator Cortez Masto, thank you. You brought a level of expertise on illicit finance that none of the rest of us had. and I want to thank you so much for that. Your thoughts, Mr. Warnock, throughout the last 9 months have been additive to what I think is a very good bill. Mr. Gallego has worked tirelessly behind the scenes on multiple issues that are involved in this legislation. And I want to single out Senator Also Brooks for her tremendous time commitment and work with Mr. Tillis on the language that has helped bring this bill to the floor today on the concerns that the banking industry had about the Genius Act. This has been a bipartisan dialogue that has gone on for 9 months. It has been almost tireless. And Mr. Marino, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Kennedy, honest. And especially Senator Scott, who has kept us on track for 9 months. This is the hardest piece of legislation I've ever worked on. I served 14 years in the Wyoming legislature.
Test, test, test. Okay, finally. Sorry, guys. I never have that happen just like randomly. But Solana really getting going. 2 going 3 day, higher lows, yeah, forming. Yeah, sorry about that. But if we go back to Coin and Hood, so we mentioned, just like Oracle, what did we tell you guys we want to look at on the flip? The second 30 of the day when things go 2-2 reversal, that's something we look for. That's why Oracle in that 15er kicked in goes so crazy. Now it's following through on the 3-2 as well. So if you're late to that, that's fine right there. Get it. But we said, what do we want to look for? Well, we have all this crypto stuff today. So Coin, Hammer 60, second 60 of the day, boom, gone. And you can see Coin's already up 5 points. If we go to Hood, Robinhood, Hammer 60, boom, gone. So what are they doing? They're buying Coin, which is a crypto platform. They're buying Hood, which is a crypto platform. And they're doing that while this Clarity Act's being discussed. So it's kind of interesting. Now, does that mean this has to stay this way? No, right? We could see it get crazy and go bang, bang, right? And like really broaden in here. So you just got to be aware when you're trading around news, things can really speed up, out of the blue. But Solana, 2 going 3 day, this is triangle day out. And then here, the second that goes green on the day, it's trying to go 3. So they're firming up here. The question just is that going to be enough? Are we going to be strong enough to do that? If we go to Bitcoin, we had that 5-minute acting as support here. So for your Bitcoin traders, you got a pretty nice move off of that from the Hammer 5er, which actually was mentioned in the chat. And, we said you're stuck unless you can act as support. You can stay out of this, which it is. So we're going to continue listening in to see what they want to do with this Clarity Act. And that's why cryptos are moving a lot, or at least, that's a reason we could attribute to it. But outside of that, a lot of other things, energies are relatively flat, kind of not doing much. Financials, they're firm for now. We'll see. They are currently inside day up in financials. We got a NVIDIA. There's some slight profit taking at the highs, so slight triangle day out. SPY, still high day, so that inside 15, still good. No reversals against on SPY. Qs, still good at the highs, although slight exhaustion wick up there. Then Dow finally gets moving. You'll see the inside 30s became 2 up. So 2, 2, 2, 2 up, 2 down, 2 up. So that confirms SPY and Qs, which is going to tell us that should keep going in SPY and Qs. And then IWM also broke the 30s, confirming SPY and Qs with a 3-2 reversal 60. So for now, they are reconfirming what SPY and Qs are doing with a market rally. And they're broadening that rally, buying small caps and industrials. So they're literally buying everything: crypto, small caps, industrials, and SPY and Qs. So let's get that. We're going to get that playing again.
Is no way now that this securities under SEC jurisdiction, FTC authority over unfair or deceptive practices, $30 million per year through 2031 for FinCEN. With regard to fraud and AML provisions, temporary holds for suspicious activities, and preventing those who place the holds from having private causes of action. It applies BSA regulation to digital asset brokers, dealers, and exchanges. This list goes on and on. This is a pro-law enforcement bill. And it's also a pro-consumer bill. Consumers can now transmit money between them faster and cheaper than they can now. It provides a level playing field regardless of whether you live in Rwanda or Queens, New York, about transmitting money faster and cheaper. It provides a woman who's trying to get out of a battered
Ripple goes to
marriage
today.
the opportunity to walk away with her money in her head. It provides people who are being tortured in foreign countries the opportunity to walk away from that country with their money in their head, because Bitcoin can be memorized. This is an innovation that provides individual freedom, individual savings. It is faster, cheaper, it is secure, and we're inviting that consumer environment into our country under a very clearly articulated set of rules. And it's because
Woo!
of all
Yeah,
the work
invite
that is
it in.
by the people in this room. I absolutely pledge that I will work with you before this bill gets to the floor. We know those few remaining little items that we have to work on together. I trust you, and I want you to trust me to see this process through, because we know when we work together that we can create a product that we can be proud of and the American people can be proud of. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Tillis.
Very quick, Mr. Chairman. Senator Lummis did a wonderful job. I just want to reinforce a couple of things. You know, quite honestly, when I heard the ranking member talk, I thought I'd teleported into a parallel universe.
Why is the dollar ripping? Do you want to actually know? So the dollar's going to be ripping because if this Clarity Act passes, banks will be able to create their own their own digital currencies, and that means they'll be able to create stable coins like the dollar, USDC, for example. And the stable coins, the USDC, it is the 17th largest holder of US debt in the world. Why does that matter? Because the USDC, what they do is they take money, they buy government debt, and then they issue digital dollars. So if the Clarity Act goes through, banks will be able to do that. Or at least banks will be able to facilitate that throughout or with the companies that are already doing it. So if this goes through, it allows banks to actually create new money, at least in a sense. So this is actually, it's a really good thing, because if we go and look at our, debt clock, 39 trillion in debt. So how are we going to fund the government if everyone has to pay, $60 a day or $120,000 to fund the government? How are we going to do that? We're going to do it by being the first major world economy to completely transfer to cryptocurrency, because we can go and create those digital dollars without causing crazy inflation. At least that's the idea. And that's what they're trying to do. So that's why you're seeing everything go up, because if this happens, our economy, we already have the global reserve currency, but we're going to further solidify that with digital dollars and digital everything. MU get inside 60, inside 30. So you're getting chopped up a little in MU. Now you do second 30s of the day, or of the 60s, I mean, coin and hood. You got some profit takers and the Bitcoiners. But I'm just trying to tell you guys, if you are going to invest for the future, things like, yep. Give me 1 second. All right. I've got an inspection I got to do quick. So I'll be back. I'm going to pause and we'll talk soon. I lost. Oh, where did it go? I lost the link to that stream that we had here. Here it is. Banking.senate.gov.
Mr. Van Hollen? Ms. Cortez Masto? Ms. Smith?
Coin's still good. Nice 2260 on the second 60 of the day. Get boy.
Mr. Kim?
Same with Hood. Still good as well. So for now,
Mr. Gallego?
still good. Just let him go. And same will go for the coins.
Ms. Alsop?
No.
And we do have them voting right now. So mind this volatility. It's going to show up.
The amendment is agreed to, and I now call up Warren, number 74.
So let's talk about some of the people who will be hurt by a bill that supercharges the crypto industry without guardrails. People saving for retirement and people with pension plans. The current draft fails to address one of the biggest concerns that retirees face in this bill, the tokenization loophole. This country's biggest workers' unions and groups representing the largest pension funds have said that this is a catastrophic problem. Under this bill, companies could escape basic securities laws by raising money through tokens rather than traditional securities like stock, exposing Americans to a host of risks by removing necessary investor protections. The bill also kneecaps federal
Right? Like,
to crack down on crypto fraud.
it's kind of like AI. It's like saying like AI is going to, make it so some jobs don't exist in the future. It's like, well, we already built it. It's already there.
Using financial system to develop and implement processes to protect investors from
Get,
heightened
Oracle,
risk
get.
posed by crypto before recommending it to Americans looking to invest their hard-earned money. Every member of this committee should agree with this simple fix to protect our investors, and I urge my colleagues to support Warren Amendment 74.
Someone who wants to be recognized for rebuttal? Rebuttals are only 60 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment would single out digital assets for a special presumption of noncompliance and create unnecessary litigation risk. This amendment should not be adopted. It requires fiduciaries to implement special processes to protect clients from digital asset risks or be presumed to have violated their fiduciary duty. Current fiduciary standards already require intermediaries to act in their clients' best interests, making this amendment unnecessary.
The clerk will call the roll.
Chairman?
No?
Mr. Crapo? No. Mr. Rounds? No. Mr. Tillis? No. Mr. Kennedy?
No.
Mr. Haggerty?
Haggerty's no.
Ms. Lummis? No. Mrs. Britt? No. Mr. Ricketts?
We do see some profit taking of things like coin up at the highs. So you can defend that and then let the winners rip if, depending on how this goes.
Mr. O'Connor? Ms. Warren?
Yes.
Mr. Reed? Mr. Warner? Mr. Van Hollen?
I, by proxy.
Ms. Cortez Masto? Ms. Smith? Mr. Warnock? Mr. Kim? Mr. Gallego?
If we look at SPY, look at this. Still good on the 15. Nice. Qs, still good on the 15.
The vote is 11 in favor and 13 opposed.
The amendment is not agreed to. We'll now go to Britt 14. Senator Britt, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to offer Britt number 14, my amendment regarding 403B savings accounts. This bill is bipartisan and is very simple and is widely supported. It allows employees of nonprofit organizations like public school teachers, ministers, nurses. It allows them the same access to the 401k retirement plans that most Americans can enjoy. CITs
Get Oracle,
offer
get.
a
Look at that.
wider investment
Boom.
vehicle along with lower fees and even higher returns, and this will allow them to participate in that. This levels the playing field so that more hardworking Americans can access more investment options and ultimately retire sooner. I want to thank Senator Warnock for leading this standalone bill with me and a number of my colleagues here on this committee, both Democrat and Republican, who have co-sponsored it. I am committed to finding a vehicle for this to move. I am also committed to making sure that the Clarity Act moves out today. So we will look for a different vehicle and we'll continue to build support. I withdraw my amendment, but look forward to working with the chair and the ranking member to actually get this done.
Thank you very much. And I'll call up Warren 64.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this bill that we're looking at fails to address foundational gaps on money laundering responsibilities for conventional crypto businesses and for DeFi services. And even for the very worst platforms, this bill fails to restore sanctions authority to isolate them. While we're at war, Iran is openly gearing up to collect crypto fees from oil tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh, come on.
Terrorist groups, rogue states, foreign adversaries, and criminals are using crypto to evade our sanctions and launder their money.
We're just going to pause it right there and we'll let her finish up. She has so much to say all the time. But like, just knowing to buy yesterday, it's just amazing because you already knew. There's no reason to flounder today. You should already be in. Full time from continuity up, get 6 weeks in a row of buying. Does not get easier than that. That being said, though, Oracle, get coming right up into your last targets here at $200 Oracle. Nice. And we told you, above 195 Oracle, still good. Broadening expansion. But it had to be above that. Therefore, you could have a nice tight stop, risking 30, 40 cents. And it goes. Up they go. SPY. We told you, right when it became a 2, it was reconfirming what we know to be true about price. It's going up. It reconfirms. It's a buy. What did that tell you? It told you stuff like NVIDIA, but it also told you things like semis, which is also reconfirming. It tells you things like technologies. Boom. It tells you things like QQQ. They all reconfirmed. So if we just go back to the market here and look at the overall, they bought Qs, giving you the evidence. Hey guys, we're buying Qs today. Next 60 opens, they're still buying Qs. So is it pretty easy to see what's going on there? You'll see Oracle, you'll see Microsoft and NVIDIA, right? So some of your bigger names. Meta is up at the highs too. Google, not so much. The dollar's still going up. You'll see small caps with their inside 30, 130s breaking higher. The Dow Jones on the second 60 of the day still firming up. So overall, they're selling some staples, selling some Utes, sold a little bit of energies, but they're buying everything else. So still not everyone. It's your tech and semis really leading the market today, showing your fireworks here. And that tells you your crypto guys, right? So things like Coin, still 13 minutes to go on the 60s. Things like Hood still has 13 minutes to go on the 60s. And yeah, they're moving. We go back to Bitcoin. They're still up there. They're just not buying it actively right now. So on Oracle, I just hit 115% return on some 202.5 calls. I grabbed some out of the monies on that 3260. And it was beautiful stuff. Is Tesla trying to break out? Let's see. Yeah, so we go to Tesla. You can see we gave you that broadening information. We said, how are you getting out of that? We're still not out of it, but you're close, right? If you got it down here at support, then up here at resistance, you'd want to break out of that. So far, you can see they're not breaking out of that. Oracle, you can see profit taking right at our last targets. So make sure to defend your winning position. However you choose to do that, reducing, selling, a 205 call against it, exiting, it's up to you. I'm more interested in the cryptos. So I was able to trade some of the Solana futures this morning. I actually caught it last night. Crazy enough, I got it almost at low of day yesterday, at right at the reclaim on some leveraged future positions. So That's what I've been managing this morning on a different screen here, but MU chopped up a little bit. Check the 3060s. Yeah, and that's really the most important thing. Every day we say it. You don't have to be the first one. We're going to talk about things every morning. We're going to be like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. You don't have to trade it. Because once those first 60s close out, you have more evidence. You don't have to trade the first hour. Once SPY closed green on the 60s, green on the day, full time frame continuity up, we had every reason to believe it was going up today. And then it reconfirms. It's like, yep, boom, buy, gone. You don't have to guess. It's telling you exactly what's going on. But right at the open, that's when you have to guess. Because if the day is red, it's going down. And then if it changes, now it's going up. And then if it's red, it's now going down. And it'll flip back and forth more often at the open. So you just have to know that's happening. And you gain evidence over time. You don't have to be the first one in. And Qs and SPY are perfect examples of that. Same with tech, right? Really good examples. Same with Oracle. Because if they're really going to go, right? Like if SPY's going to close up 1%, 2% on the day, it's got to go 0.5% first. It's got to be green. It's got to go 2s first. And then it's got to stay 2. You don't have to guess about it. Solana, reconfirming again, Solana. 3260 continues. ASTS, they're at the highs. So this news is more bullish for Solana. They're specifically buying and taking the offer in Solana versus XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum. And that's because I'm telling you guys, this one will be the winner. If this passes, when it passes, it's the winner. And I think it's going to pass, at least through what they're talking about today. I think it's going to be a bullish reaction. And let's get back to the Clarity Act. Clarity. See what they're talking about now. Hopefully, Pocahontas is piping down.
Mr. McCormick?
Yeah, we're good now.
Ms. Warren?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
ASTS puts got me.
Mr. Warner?
That's okay. We trade more than once a day.
Yes, my proxy.
Second 60, second 30 every day.
Ms. Smith? Mr. Warnock? Mr. Kim? Mr. Geigo? Ms. Blunt-Rochester? Ms. Alsop?
Aye.
The vote is 11 in favor and 13 opposed.
The minutes are about to we now call up McCormick, 115. Senator McCormick, you are now recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. They have the opportunity to introduce my amendment 115, co-sponsored with Senator Bill Hagerty. There's a long history of bipartisan support for the SEC and CFTC to provide for portfolio margin. Section 402 of the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act directs the SEC and the CFTC to jointly issue rules that enable portfolio margining across securities, swaps, futures, and digital commodity accounts held by registered dealers, FCMs, or brokers. This section is intended to allow natural risk offsets among positions to be recognized and would create greater efficiencies for investors to manage risk. However, for the portfolio margin to function properly, changes are necessary to ensure that customer protections under the Securities Investor Protection Act, SIPA, carry to CFTC-regulated products in the event that a broker-dealer becomes insolvent. This amendment I'm offering today gives the SEC and CFTC the flexibility to write rules relating to SIPA with consultation from SIPC and Treasury on expanded security portfolio margin accounts. Not only is this essential for customer protection during times of market stress, but the amendment also explicitly prohibits SIPC advances from covering digital commodities or swap positions which protect traditional securities customers. Digital assets are being folded into the fabric of the financial system. This amendment recognizes that reality of its passage is important to every single market participant, the banks, crypto, and customers. This amendment is a result of working closely with both Treasury and SIPC and represents a bipartisan agreement with my Democratic colleagues. I would ask it to be adopted by voice, but I'm moving to a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Voice.
I'd like to respond. Okay, thank you. Section 402 of this bill directs the CFTC and SEC to issue a joint rulemaking that will facilitate portfolio margining across a wide variety of categories of a lot of diverse instruments, including crypto. Now, as everyone here knows, portfolio margining allows calculation of margin requirements based on the overall portfolio rather than by individual position, and it has the effect of lowering margin requirements for trading. Lower margin requirements increase leverage and therefore increase risk in the system. Excessive leverage in our financial system has, time and time again, been a culprit in crashes that harm not just our financial markets, but spread to the real economy. The bill is set to unleash unregulated crypto upon our economy. It would also increase leverage across a range of different asset classes and regulatory regimes. I appreciate that Amendment 115 takes steps toward protecting consumers from the havoc of this new regime, but it is not enough. The amendment further seems to remove civic protections from accounts with crypto, which highlights one of the real paradoxes in this bill. It pushes more of the market into crypto and removes protection for investors and removes recourse for victims. That is the wrong direction to go in. When this blows up the economy, I hope everybody remembers this.
Actually, we're out of time. I'm going to see if I can as possible. Voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
I think this was going to matter in history.
Uh-oh. This is going to matter in history.
Aye.
Mr. Crapo? Aye. Mr. Rounds? Mr. Tillis? Mr. Kennedy? Mr. Haggerty?
Haggerty's aye.
Ms. Lummis? Mrs. Britt? Mr. Ricketts? Mr. Banks?
Aye by proxy.
Mr. Kramer? Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. McCormick?
Aye.
Ms. Warren?
No.
Mr. Reed?
The only one.
Mr. Warner? Mr. Van Hollen? Ms. Cortez Masto? Ms. Smith? Mr. Warnock? Mr. Kim? Mr. Geigo? Ms. Blunt-Rochester? Ms. Alsop?
Aye.
The vote is 18 in favor and 6 opposed.
The amendment has been adopted. We now call up Warren 52.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So when banks take excessive risks in pursuit of windfall profits, we know what happens next. The bets blow up, businesses on Main Street are shuttered, workers lose their jobs and retirement savings, families run out of their homes, and the economy goes into recession. Oh, and then Wall Street comes to Congress and begs for bailouts and gets them. That's why our laws are supposed to keep the banks safe and sound, in part by limiting the kinds of assets that banks can own and the activities they can conduct. There are plenty of traditional assets that banks are prohibited from owning, and traditional activities that banks are prohibited from conducting. This bill would throw out sensible restrictions on crypto assets. For example, the bill allows banks to transact in Wild West decentralized finance, where a platform seems to face a run, get hacked, or otherwise implode pretty much every week. The bill also allows banks to lend against crypto as collateral, to own crypto directly, to trade crypto derivatives, and more. The bill also reveals a key pillar of the Dodd-Frank Act for digital assets, known as the Volcker Rule. The bill allows bank holding companies to buy and sell digital assets for any investment or trading purpose, including the type of dangerous proprietary trading and hedge fund activities that helped cause the 2008 crash. But innocent businesses and families that have never even heard of the blockchain will suffer if the next crypto crash also causes a banking crash. My amendment would strike these dangerous provisions from the bill. I urge my colleagues to vote for Warren 52.
60 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are three states that already allow banks to do this. One is Virginia, Wyoming, Louisiana. And after this bill passes, other states will allow it to do it. The bank permissibility language in our legislation does one thing.
QQQ still good on the 15-minute inside bar actionable signal, up 4 points. If we go to the SPY, on the inside 15 actionable signal, still good, up 3 points. Dow Jones, they're still firm as well. And then IWM, they're still firm as well, just not as strong since they're lagging the market, but they are confirming. Oracle from our magnitude to take profit. They are coming back down, so they've already dropped off the highs a little bit there. And into the new flip, Robinhood, broadening formation expansion on the 2260 on the second 60 of the day. Coinbase, also still good as expansion on the second 60 of the day with your 22 hammer 60 actionable signal to make that happen. So as we go into the next flip in just under a minute, the question is, do they confirm or do they negate? The flip is when algorithms are told to continue buying or to stop buying. So we're nowhere near reversing, but we could retrace or see profit taking. At this point, though, we're nowhere near changing any of this. Therefore, still good. Good thing we bought yesterday. Good thing, we had the buys down here on Tuesday. And they're still just following through today with 115er signal to start it off. And they're still good.
It simply confirms the bank.
Mr. Warner? Aye. Mr. Van Hollen? Aye. Ms. Cortez Masto? Ms. Smith? Aye. Mr. Warnock? Aye. Mr. Kim? Aye. Mr. Gallego? Aye. Ms. Blunt Rochester? Aye.
Here's the flip right here.
Aye.
The vote is...
Do they confirm or do they negate?
The amendment is not agreed to. We now call up Warren 66.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Jeffrey Epstein was an early backer of crypto. He poured millions.
There's no way she's serious.
One of the biggest benefactors of this bill, if it becomes law. And that's no surprise. Epstein recognized crypto's potential as a tool to covertly facilitate illicit payments. But as the crypto
The Epstein card is hilarious.
Wall Street banks were happy to provide financial services that Epstein needed to facilitate his crimes. You might think that big banks would have severed their ties with Epstein following his 2008 conviction for soliciting a child for sex, and you would be wrong. For more than a decade, banks like J.P. Morgan, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of America generated massive fees off of Epstein's business while ignoring very obvious red flags. It wasn't until Epstein was arrested once again in 2019 that J.P. Morgan finally...
Yeah, Midnight says this is generational moment. Yeah, I'm trying to tell everyone. This is the biggest thing since we left the gold standard. This thing they're talking about right now. If they change it, the whole world changes in one day. 12 months from today, if the Clarity Act does move forward into law, 12 months from today, there's not going to be a New York Open anymore. There's not going to be a London Open anymore. There's not going to be an Asia Open anymore. The whole stock market will be tokenized. It's going to be 24/7. So it will change how trading works. And that's just one effect. It's going to change a lot.
Related to Epstein and his co-conspirators.
And we're just going to mute Pocahontas for the time being. SPY, notice the new 60. Is the algorithm still buying? Yes. Algorithm's still buying, taking the offer, doing it this month, this week, today, this year, this quarter. Dow Jones inside 60 signal. If they're going to blow out the shorts, you got that. IWM still good on the 60s as well, and that algorithm's still buying from the second 60 of the day. On the inside 30, 312 Chicago.
To release stuff about Epstein and his co-conspirators. How are they going to know who his co-conspirators?
Well, they have everything named in court documents. One is identified is Ghislaine Maxwell as an identified convicted co-conspirator, and I think the record should be released as well.
I look forward to you all continuing this conversation after the hearing. Clerk will call the roll. No.
Mr. Crapo? No. Mr. Rounds? Mr. Tillis? Mr. Kennedy? Mr. Haggerty? Haggerty's no. Ms. Lummis? Mrs. Britt? Mr. Ricketts? Mr. Banks?
No by proxy.
Mr. Kramer? Mr. Moreno? Mr. McCormick?
No.
Ms. Warren?
Yeah.
Mr. Reed? Mr. Warner? Mr. Van Hollen? Ms. Cortez Masto? Ms. Smith? Mr. Warnock? Mr. Kim? Mr. Geigo? Ms. Blunt Rochester?
Oracle 15ers down off the highs, profit taking.
The vote is 11 in favor and 13 opposed.
And also triangle the outs.
Not agreed to. We will now move to.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to get in trouble again. I've got another point of order. I would consider voting for this amendment.
Tomorrow's a good one, yeah.
Taking out co-conspirators.
SOL, Sol, what is it, funds?
Yes, the
SOLZ is another one, Solana ETF. It's $9. So if you're looking for a cheap option play, buy the leaps in SOLZ. Buy the $15 leaps. Or the $20 leaps. I actually really like that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My amendment allows the government to block foreign illicit transactions that occur using stablecoins as if they were dollars.
Solana staking ETF? Ooh, interesting.
Crackdown on Iran's use of stablecoins to fund their nuclear program.
If we go to Tesla, broadening expansion right here, Tesla. That's how you know it's breaking out, right there. And that's that resistance level we told you. You got to get above that. Good mention by Powers.
Chinese chip resellers have shown the willingness and capability to supply drone components, electrical equipment, AI critical hardware, etc. And these unmanned systems, these drones, are what is wreaking havoc on our forces and our allies in the Persian Gulf today. We've lost 14 Americans and hundreds wounded, and the money can be traced back, much of it, to stablecoins. Now, Iran is also accepting coal in stablecoins at the Strait of Hormuz, and they're making money on that too. Now, the president cannot shut down this operation. Excuse me. They have to go hand in hand, tether, they please tether, voluntarily stop doing this. We need structure. Everyone's trying to talk about how much what the troops. You really want the troops? Cut off the funding to Iran.
Rebuttal. Senator Haggerty, please.
Mr. Chairman, the bill that we're voting on today already includes dedicated illicit finance and sanctions provisions in digital assets. Title II and Title III address anti-money laundering, sanctions compliance, information sharing, digital asset kiosks, DeFi risk control, and other illicit financing risks. The amendment creates a broad extraterritorial rule for dollar-denominated stablecoins. I'm concerned that actually could undermine responsible use of stablecoins abroad. I'm going to urge my colleagues to oppose Senator Reid's amendment.
President, clerk will call the roll. No.
Mr. Crapo?
No by
No by
proxy.
proxy? Mr. Rounds? Mr. Tillis? Mr. Kennedy?
Got out of queues at high day. Good. It's still good.
Mrs.
It's
Britt?
going sideways, but it's still good. So we'll see if that wants to keep going.
Mr. Banks? Mr. Kramer? Mr. Moreno? Mr. McCormick?
No.
Ms. Warren?
Yes.
2028. I would go as far as possible because so this is the thing. If you're gonna play it, you can play leaps all you want
Ms. Smith?
to leverage it,
Mr. Warren?
but in my opinion, you want to own it.
Mr. Gallego? Ms. Blunt-Rochester? Ms. Also?
It's one where it's like you would want to.
It is 11 in favor and 13 opposed.
So if we go to like G Sol, for example, I don't know if this actually allows you to buy leaps on it or not, but it does look like Qs and stuff. By the way, it's inside 60 red. So mind the flip, right? There's profit taking. That's real. That is true profit taking. So that buyer, whoever was buying before, they're taking some profit. Now it's not reversal. It's retracement. So it's not reversal. Which means, similar to before, remember in Q's reversed here and then it went 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, right? If you got out before it went 2 down, you got out on a retracement. You didn't get out on a reversal. So you want to know that. Now it is up at the highs, but we like to see this continue. We have full time frame continuity. This is profit taking. The only way you're turning the market around today is a simultaneous 60-minute reversal, and it's not doing that. The options are spready. Yeah, this is not a like trade in and out. This is a buy, and then 2 years later, then we'll talk about like, are we going to roll it or sell it? And I'm telling you right now, I'm putting so much money in Solana. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So I'm trying to Solana leap, yeah. But I would suggest actually buying it, especially if you're older, if you're like 70 or whatnot. Do you want to give it to your grandkids, when you pass away? Probably. This is not a trade. It's investment. And the thesis is when the whole government and the whole monetary system moves digital, Solana is one of the rails they're going to use to exchange money. It's like, you can think of it kind of like a bank or like a PayPal type thing, but it's going to be used globally, the whole world. So it's not a trade, it is an investment. But to show you what I'm doing, so I have some different positions. I have some leveraged positions. Right now I have $5,000 leveraged into Solana futures. And then I have about $4,000 sitting in Solana right now, and I'm working on getting another 20,000 very, very soon. I'm just waiting on the money to hit my accounts here. And I'm also going to be spreading it into some XRP. Would I just mark it into leaps? What you could do is you could try and buy it in the spread. You don't have to market order. Like, it's a leap. You don't have to chase and be get it like right this second. Try and fill it on the bid, or try and fill it in the mid price, and then don't look at it. You got to think of it like money you're gonna invest, and you're never gonna look at it. The ideal scenario is if we look here. So if we go to the Solana funds, the SOLZ is one of them. So SOLZ, SOLZ, VSOL, VANIC, QSOL. So you have some options here to be looking at. But for example, if we go to SOLZ, it's at $9. So if we go to, let me pull it up. So if we go and look in there, 2028, January 21 calls. Right now, they're very spready, but this is what you have to understand about options markets. If you put it in there and you have a bid in there, so to show you, I'll show you the call side of this chain. So when you're trying to fill things that are spready, you have to understand, you want to fill it on the bid. So when we look in here, you don't want to go and buy $15 calls at 360 because you can fill a $9 call and you can probably fill it at 360 in the mid price. And yes, there's not much volume here. That's why they're cheap. Because 2 years from now, Solana could be up 3x. These $9 calls would be worth $2,000 a piece. They're trading at $300. And that's $2,000, not including IV. Like we look at IV here, it's only 79%. The IV on these could double. And then it's gonna be worth, more than $2,000. It could be like $2,500, $3,000. So when we're looking at this, you want to fill on the bid or you want to fill on the mid price. You do not want to fill on the ask. You do not want to take the offer because they're really liquid. Now, if you did, it's not going to kill you. But ideally, you would get some at the money stuff just because the IV here, it's not that high for what we were thinking will happen. And what I would want to do if I'm using this vehicle, using options, I would want to roll this option, which means you buy it. And then once 2027 comes around, you take your 2028 and you move it to 2029 and you keep doing that and moving it forward because it's like holding a shares position, but it's much cheaper. And that's where we can do the math. It's $900 if you buy Solana, this ETF right now, SOLZ, $900 to get 100 shares, give or take. Now, if you buy the option, it costs about $350, right? This was the last price, $346. So if you buy the option, it's $350. So you can buy like 2.2 times as many shares at $9. You just have an expiration on that. So the ideal scenario is buy this, don't buy the shares. If you're going to do options to leverage yourself, you'd get 2 of these for every 100 shares you get 200 instead of 100 for the same price or cheaper. Then if Solana goes to, let's say, $12, you're in the money, you can sell options against that. So you can sell the 15 call for next month. And then when it expires at 0, you get paid the difference. So if you sell this 15 call, let's say, a couple months from now, let's say it's like $3, you can sell that. You can go boom. If it expires worthless, you're good to go because you're getting paid to sell those options against your current position. So you can turn it into income just knowing that it's likely this is going to keep going up. So if you create a winning position, you can create income from that winning trade by selling options against it. And there's a lot of different strategies you can do. But when you're doing long-term holds, you don't want to just buy it and let it sit. Unless you're like me and you're just buying the crypto, perfectly fine because you can stake it where it gives you 7% a year. But if you're going to do options or shares, make it work for you. You can sell out of the money options and create income from those positions. Just click the mid price. Yeah, but you have to realize we're not going to look at that. We're just going to be like, all right, close our eyes. We'll look at that 2 years from now or maybe a year from now. We don't want to get out. So that's okay. But we just want to let it happen. It could take months. It could take 6 months for this to like really get moving. But they're really cheap right now because no one's seeing this. No one's paying attention. No one's seeing it. And they're still talking here. Let's see what they're talking about.
traffickers, scammers, North Korea, or Iran. I hope my colleagues will agree with that premise and support this amendment.
Rebuttal?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. In this bill, we've tried to use existing statutes and embed digital assets under them, whether it's the SEC, the CFTC, or criminal penalties. So the same conduct that the gentleman is trying to address is already chargeable today under 18 U.S.C. 1956 and 1957 and existing sanctions laws. So if somebody built or uses software to launder criminal proceeds or evade sanctions, prosecutors can already bring cases under these statutes without needing a specific DeFi add-on. So if you carve out one thing for specific treatment into
Oh, this is so cool.
by software is not welcome in this country. We don't want to send that signal. We want to use the existing strictures and embed digital assets in the U.S. So for that reason, I oppose the amendment.
Clerk will call the roll. Nope.
Mr. Crapo? Mr. Rounds? Mr. Tillis? Mr. Kennedy?
Nobody talks.
Mr. Haggerty?
Haggerty's no.
Ms. Lummis? Mrs. Britt? Mr. Ricketts? Mr. Banks? Mr. Kramer? Mr. Moreno? Mr. McCormick?
No.
Ms. Warren?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Mr. Van
Mr. Van
Hollen?
Hollen? Aye.
Ms.
Cortez
Cortez
Masto?
Ms.
Ms.
Smith?
Smith?
Mr. Warnock? Mr.
Mr.
Kim?
Kim?
Mr.
Mr.
Geigo?
Geigo?
Ms.
Ms.
Blunt
Rochester?
Ms.
Ms.
Also?
Alsobooks?
Aye.
The
The vote is 11 in favor and 13 opposed.
The amendment is not agreed to. We'll now move to Van Hollen, number 35. Senator Van Hollen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment is straightforward. It's designed to prevent conflict of interest and self-dealing by the president or members of
I'm going to switch this live stream to public.
It also requires greater transparency. We have all seen the president and members of his family involved in corrupt crypto ventures and various crypto scams. Through World Liberty Financial, the Trump family has raked in billions of profits, much of it obtained through corrupt deals with members of the UAE royal family. In fact, we've heard testimony from witnesses before this committee about that. And the Trump and Melania meme coins have allowed Trump to rake in hundreds of millions, if not more, in cash, even as investors lost $4.3 billion. The way that scam works is that whether retail investors win or lose, Trump is like the house casino. He always wins. And what this amendment does is very simple. We're letting the American public know, we're letting the people know that we're not going to allow self-dealing by the president or members of the House and Senate and others who have direct control and influence over these operations, as witnessed by the fact that we're marking up this bill. So the people involved directly in making these policies, the president or the Congress, should not be able to issue of these particular assets and coins. So that's what the amendment does. Mr. Chairman, I ask for the yeas and nays.
Rebuttal?
Chairman?
Senator Moreno?
This is the Banking Committee, not the Judiciary Committee. Inclusion of the criminal penalty and references to the Attorney General make this amendment not germane to this committee. It's out of order. I urge my colleagues to vote no. And I would also just say that as a lawyer, you should, if anybody, respect the fact that people are innocent in this country to proven guilty. You're making conclusive comments about a person who's a good man who serves this nation. And to say with no knowledge that he is committing a crime is a disgrace. We can have political conversations about policies. We don't have to turn everything into ad hominem attacks against the President of the United States.
Clerk will call the roll.
Will the chairman allow me just to respond briefly, because I was clear, Senator, that the deal with World Liberty Financial has all the markings of a corrupt deal. As you know, the president decided to relieve some of the restrictions the United States had placed on chips and AI to the royal family.
Echoing, yeah, sorry about that. It should be, let's see. I'm going to turn it down for a second. So this is what I wanted to talk about. I made the stream public because we're talking about this now, and face cam time. Yeah, because hopefully with the face cam, more people will listen in. So right now they are talking about the Clarity Act, and if you don't know what the Clarity Act is, it's pretty much an act that's going to define all the terms and make it so institutions, banks, countries, anyone in the U.S. has clarity on the laws regarding crypto. And I've been talking about this on my nightly videos and stuff and hinting at all this for a couple days now. And why is it important? It's important because if this act gets passed, and I'm saying it right now, it will. It might not be law today, right? It's not going to be law today. They're not going to pass it today, but they're voting on it and they're trying to formalize it and finish the act so they can send it to be made law. Now, when this happens, there's two things you want to know about, and it's Ripple and it's Solana. In one sec. And the reason is because Ripple and Solana are, you can think, like the foundation of the future of finance and crypto and blockchain. Because what Solana allows is cheap, instant payments, where I can send someone $1 million and it costs me a penny, and it happens in like 5 seconds. Ripple is similar, but it's more of a rail for institutions and banks to send money and receive money cross-border between currencies. So someone can pay Mexican pesos, and when it lands in the US, it's a United States dollar instead of a peso, and that happens in a few seconds. So with this Clarity Act, and they're talking about it now, we can see there is algorithmic buying. They're buying Solana. As this meeting started, they started buying Bitcoin. And for those of you guys in the morning stream, you can attest to this. We're talking about the breakout in here of Bitcoin. And we also confirmed that Solana went 3,260 to buy more. And so they're already buying this stuff while they're talking about this, and they're still talking now. Now, when we go and look at the charts, why is this important now? Why is now the time? It's because of where we are at. And we know price action is broadening. And what that means is when we look at any price action, it occurs in a series of new highs and new lows. So we just look at Solana now on the month, which is like an investing time frame, right? What you'll see is it made new lows and then new highs, and then it made new lows. So this is a broadening formation. It goes dink, dink, dink. And you'll see from these new lows, if we bought it here, it rallied and doubled, right? It went up 150%, 160%. Now it didn't fully take the highs out. That's notable, right? But it went 100%. So when we look down here and you see where Solana is sitting right now, even if it doesn't go to all-time highs, it could still double, and that's a good investment. But with the Clarity Act, if they pass it, this becomes the rails that these institutions are going to use. And it's also, you can research more of this yourself, but it's also a layer that allows developers to build upon. It's like the Trump coin. When Trump got inaugurated and he released his coin, that was built on top of Solana. And you have things like PayPal, which are building on top of Solana. You have USDC and these digital dollars, and they are being sent, and they're using the Solana chain to do a lot of things there as well. So this is something they are actively using in things like JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal. They're building on top of it already. So this act will eventually go through. Again, it might not be like within like 3 months from today. It might take a little bit of time, but now is the time to know about this, because when it does go through, the future of finance completely changes. You will see and I've said this many times, but for those of you just joining, when you are looking at money, the biggest change to our money was in the 1970s when we got off the gold standard. And that's when inflation started going crazy. That's when the US debt, right? We now have $39 trillion in debt. We just hit that yesterday. So when debt started going crazy, that was the biggest change to monetary policy ever, right? For the US when we got off the gold standard. This, the Clarity Act, and moving towards crypto and digital currencies is the next biggest change ever to US monetary policy, because it is going to allow things like Coinbase and Robinhood to pay interest where you can get 5 to 7% on your savings account every year. And the other thing it's going to allow is those institutions to use all this crypto, and that's going to send crypto like this, right? It's going to be a huge bull market. So when we look at what's happening right now, short term, yeah, they're buying this, right? They're buying crypto, they're buying Solana, short term. Long term, we want to buy it at $90 and we want to hold. Because if it goes back up to 400, 500, top of the broadening formation, it's unlikely to come back all the way back to 90, because it's going to be hard to go from 500 back to 90 again. And what you will notice is when you go and look at what price discovery does over time, is over time, broadening ranges, they will form and then they will expand because they are broadening. So if we look at the SPX, which has the most historical price discovery that we can look at, you will see in 2008, they make lower lows. That's the best time to buy it. And then boom, it never comes back, right? If you bought it in 2008 or right after 2008 and 2009, right? You're the best investor in the world. You killed it. The same thing in COVID, right? We look at COVID. You have this broadening formation in COVID. It makes the highs of the broadening formation, comes all the way back down. That's the best time to buy it. And then it never comes back to that price. And if we go to other cryptos like Bitcoin, we called the bottom on Twitter down in here at 18,000. It's probably never coming back to that. And you'll see the broadening formation. New highs, new lows, new highs, right? And this is how price works. This is all it does all the time. It can't do anything else. So when we're looking at this in Bitcoin, the same thing's true right now. New lows, new highs, new lows. It's like, where would it try to go next, Alex? Probably back up there. Now, I don't think Bitcoin's the best one to buy because the transactions cost so much money, and we don't really see these institutions building on top of Bitcoin. You kind of can't. But things like Solana, things like XRP, they are built for a specific purpose that serves the future of finance. So that's why I'm sharing this now. Now, there's many different ways to play this, and I'm going to give you a few. So the first is you can just, buy Solana. Oops. You can just buy Solana, right? And you can buy the token itself. You can use something like Coinbase. You can use something like Robinhood. And buying it allows you to stake it. And when you stake it, you can receive 5 to 7% per year on your money. And if Solana is going to triple, you're also going to receive more over time, because you'll receive 5%, on $93. So if we just do the quick math, it'd be like, for every $93 you put in, you receive $5. It's not that much. But if you buy it at 93 and it goes to 300 times 0.05, now for every $100 you put in, you receive $15. So from your cost basis, it turns into like 15% per year. Now, those numbers are subject to change. I can't guarantee that in the future. But what I'm saying is, if it's going to triple and you can get 5 to 7% per year on it, you want to buy it low and you want to hold it and receive that while it appreciates. It's like win-win-win. You get passive income, and the underlying asset is going to increase in price. So this is huge. And then Ripple does not have this staking feature, but it also might move more, because Ripple is going to be like the rails for transferring money. And if we see them transferring, hundreds of billions of dollars every week on Ripple throughout the world financial system, the price of Ripple has to go up. Now, is it the best play in comparison to Solana? I think Solana is better. So I'd go heavier Solana, slightly less heavy Ripple if you're going to do crypto. The other way to play this is you can use things like the Solana ETFs, and you can buy options, and options will allow you to leverage your money here So if we pull this up, where is it? So we look at SOLZ, the calls. $9 calls, you could probably get filled around 360 or lower, depending on how you fill it. Not by taking the offer. I would not buy and take the offer. These are illiquid. But this expires in 2028. So we look at the Solana ETF. If within the next couple of years, it goes even just back to 15, right? And you've seen how we've shown you, even if this just goes back to $15 or $16 over the next couple of years, those will be worth $6 a piece intrinsically. So if you fill at 360, you're leveraging your money. Instead of spending $900 to buy the shares or to buy Solana directly, you can spend $360 to get 100 shares at $9. And if you do that, one of the things you can do is sell options against it. So if you have Solana at 9, you can sell out of the money calls. Like you can sell $12, $13, $14 calls to get cash back into your account, but still hold the position. And if you do that, you can do it's called a calendar spread. So if you have 2028 calls in SOLZ, you can sell next month's calls out of the money, and you can make some income on that over time. So there's a few different ways to play it. The only other way would be using perpetual futures and just buying the futures and holding those, which is also a valid option. And with Coinbase, you get, it depends on when you're doing it, but I think it's like 2x. Let me see. Let me confirm it. $2027. No, the ones I'm showing you here, this is January 28. You can see it's blue. So I clicked on January 28. So these are the 28. But let me see here. There's also futures options. I'm just not sure what exchanges have those. Yeah, so during the trading day, you get 10x leverage on coin. On Coinbase, but overnight the margin conditions change, so you can't really hold on to that 10x, or at least you have to have a good cost basis if you're going to hold overnight on that stuff. So you can get 10x, but the margin that's required to do that on the futures increases overnight. So there's a few different ways to play it, but it's what's going on right now. And you know, for those of you guys from the morning session, SPY, notice this 15er inside up, still good. So they're still buying SPY. It's good stuff. And you can see in here, ever since down in here, and we called the bottom literally to the penny, it's never come back. So that's good stuff on SPY. Qs, they're still buying Qs as well. Again, we said that red 60, it's retracement, profit taking, not a reversal. They've just been bidding this stuff up. So for you guys trading with us intraday, good stuff. If we go to Coinbase, remember that hammer 60? Boom, right? Up they go. Good stuff, coin. Hood, boom, right? And you can see their algorithms are being told what? Buy every crypto name you can, do it right now. They're buying Solana, buying Bitcoin, buying Coinbase, buying Hood. And that's the last thing I'll show you. There is another way you can play this. You can just buy the companies that are going to allow people to move from the standard traditional banks towards crypto banks, or DeFi, as you want to call it. Coinbase, we called the bottom way back in here for the investors, around $167. It's trading 217. It still can double from here. It can go back to, $500. And you'll see that broadening formation, how price action works. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Go up again, right? This is what we're looking for. So a lot of different ways to play it, depending on your situation. You can go reach out to a financial advisor and get advice from them. I'm not a financial advisor, but this is something I want to share with you guys. So thanks for joining in and listening. And if you have questions or anything, drop them in the stream chat. And I'm just going to get to everyone in premium now. What are the Tesla targets, please? Let's see. So Tesla, the first thing you'd want to see is up in here, 453. And then if you can stay up there, we're still looking for $500 since our buy is way down at like 396, 400. I was watching other stuff. If not for the stream, I would have missed coin. Holy moly. Holy shit. Yeah. Get boy. And this is why we say the second 60 of the day, the 2-2 reversal, the second day of the week, the 2-2 reversal. That's one of the universes, if you need focus, to do. Focus on things that reverse on the second 60 of the day and the second day of the week. It's beautiful stuff. And if we go to Solana, this is trying to reverse on the quarter, maybe not this quarter, but on the second quarter of the year. Just as important. Bitcoin miners, yeah, that's another option. So you can see Mara, right? You have this big outside bar on the quarter. That's your broadening formation. So when we go to the week, you'll see the weekly broadening formation Mara. They go up, then down, and then they're trying to go back to 26. So that's an option. But I really want you to think long term. A lot of people don't. You want to think like 10 years from now. What do you want? You ideally want an investment that's going to pay you that you can just hold forever. Because you want to, like traders, what are you trying to do? You're trying to create a winning position that you can hold that's going to pay you as long as possible. So if you're short term, yeah, like we can trade this stuff all the time, in and out every day, every week, and capture the volatility that way. But investment wise, you just want to think things that you can hold for a long time. So when we're looking at Mara, yeah, it's been a lot higher. We'll have to see how their business model works out. Looks like they've been not doing too well in earnings, but they're also probably investing in a lot of stuff that's going to be relevant in the next decade. So definitely. IRAs. Yeah. So if you have an IRA, you can actually open a crypto IRA. I don't know if they allow staking in IRAs. Not sure about that. But my goal is to own the tokens, receive the 5-7% interest and compound it that way. And then, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I can just take loans against that instead of selling, or I can put it in a trust and just keep it there. That's at least my plan. But you can do IRAs as well, and that's where these ETFs like SOLZ come into play, because those ETFs should be available in your IRAs as long as you can trade stocks. And you see Solana, Bitcoin, Hood, they're just they're just going for it. Get crypto, get. So we saw a thing, Savage Ad. This month started Friday the 1st. When does it uncouple? It uncouples, so if you start on a Friday, the next week opens, the week and month opens are separate since the week opened on Friday, or the month opened on Friday. So they separate right on Monday the next week. And then the Monday, you get the uncoupling on Tuesday, where the day and the week opens separate, the second day of the week. And then on the second 60 on Tuesday, you have a separate month, week, day, and 60 open. So it'd be the second 60 of Tuesday the following week. That's when you have all the evidence. Strat and non-trending markets, broadening formations. So like when you look at Hood, for example, this was not a trending market, but we made it a trending market. How did we do that? Well, you have this broadening formation here, and then look at, see how it's stuck in the middle. You wait. You don't want to trade stuck in the middle because it's going both ways really fast. It's a broadening formation. So it goes inside and then down, then up, then down, then up, then down, then up, then down, then stuck in the middle again, down, up, down, down, down. So what are we waiting for? We're waiting for the broadening formation. You want this to get bigger. So what you do is you let it go sideways, and then right here, slight lower low. And then when that goes reversal, we have a target to go 3%. And if that works, you might break out of the range we're stuck inside. So when you think about the strat, this is how you want to think. What price will do is price will move really big, and then it will start small again and restart the range. And then once that range gets big enough, then it's going to move big again off of our signals. So the same thing's true. If we look at Solana, for example, or let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was a good example this morning. So a member pointed it out, and he was like, we have the Fiverr. And I was like, well, if Bitcoin's going to move big today, we have to break out of our broadening formation. That's what causes trending markets, is expanding the range. So you can see in here what's happening. This is going up, down, down, up, down, getting bigger, back up, and then it goes back inside again, up, down, gets really small again. So in here, you're going to get destroyed. What we want to see is we want to see this right there. And if you're in the stream this morning, we talked about this right here. When price is above resistance, because this is resistance. Resistance is not a flat line. It is a broadening line. When it's above resistance right here, it's go time. Boom, right? And off they go. That's exactly what happened. So we want to get out of the broadening formation. And you can either time the bottom to the top to try and break out of resistance, or you can wait. And then once price is above, then we can start going momentum style. So that would be the two ways to do it. The second 60. So like if we go to coin, this is the first 60 minute of the day when you have the least amount of evidence, because the day and 60 opens are the same. On the second 60 of the day, when that reverses, boom, gone. Because the daily seller sold in the morning. The second 60 opened and the 60-minute buyer bought. So the daily seller had to cover their short position and the 60-minute buyer was more aggressive because it reversed. There it goes, right? Second 60 of the day. So if we go to SPY yesterday, hammer, first 60 minute of the day, second 60 of the day, right there, 2-2 reversal, gone. And that's something we look for. So like if we go to SPY on the week, this was the first week of quarter two, the first week of the quarter. On the second week of the quarter, reversal, boom, gone. And it's still going here. It's up 91 points, 2, still good. So you buy it and you hold and you walk your stops up. And that's all she wrote. So it's the same thing. And this applies to every time frame because outside bars exist. So when you look at how price happens, it's a broadening formation, right? It's like it's going like this all the time. So what is that? That is price going outside bar, outside bar, outside bar, outside bar. So when do these happen? They happen near the open. So the second 15 minute of the day, second 30 of the day, second 60 of the day would cause daily broadening formations. The second day of the week causes weekly broadening formations. The second week of the month is monthly broadening formations, and so on and so forth. So during the first and second bars, that's when this is going to be happening, because it has to happen in the beginning of the bar to become a broadening formation. So when you see a chart and you have this broadening formation, if this is the first week of the month and it goes, but then it hammers. On the second week of the month, it reverses, and now the month open goes green. So on a monthly chart, it looks like this. It goes down, goes green, and then boom, big broadening formation. And that's why we look for turnaround Tuesday. That's why we look for the second 60 of the day. That's why we can wait. We don't have to be the first one in, because that's how broadening formations are going to happen. And that's happening all the time, by the way. It's not just the second day of the week. It's like the second everything. So like when we're looking at trending markets, what happens is you can see here, it goes up. This is a broadening formation. And then the new bar opens and it continues. So we can either reverse on the next bar or we can continue. And that's always happening. So trending markets, they will go and then they will continue. Reversing markets will go in one direction and then reverse the next bar. So we can use this both ways, not just reversals, but also if they buy it Monday and they come back Tuesday to get more, you can buy. Or if you're looking at SPY, they buy the first hour of the day. On the second hour of the day, we can go and buy more, because the second bar is always going to confirm what's happening or change what's happening at all times. My take on AAOI. It's already done what it was supposed to. We alerted buys on AAOI way down here. So if you were in our Discord, we alerted the buys way down here. It's about $50 and it went 4x. So they already did what we wanted them to do. So it's really up to, are they going to keep buying this at all-time highs or not? I have no idea. What I can tell you is it's not reversing. So that's a pretty good investor name. And if you didn't know, so this is what we said. You've heard of the strat attack, where we look for things that go up Monday, so they buy Monday, and then they buy Tuesday, they come back to buy more with higher time frame signals or reversals. We can do the same thing on the yearly. AAOI is inside year up, momentum hammer, and now it's 2 up month to start the year. So it wasn't turnaround Tuesday, it wasn't the second 60 reversing or the second day reversing. It was the second month confirming direction. And you can see this was at 48 and we had a target of $103. Therefore, that was a pretty good investment. It went 103 and then it doubled from there. It's pretty crazy stuff. Now let's see what the Senate, let's see what they're talking about. We've been quiet. Warren is just like triggered. She's like, you guys are not listening to me.
Arbitrarily, that you've picked 3 out of the basket to add back in, 3 Republican amendments to add back in, then I think you should rule that all of the amendments are back in. We'd like all of the Democratic amendments back in. And I am particularly looking at Cortez Masto, number 16.
So there's a question about fair value gaps. So you can call them fair value gaps if you want, but the only reason I have them on the chart is I've been doing some study looking at, I did some study and did some research on signals. How do you know if something's working? And a fair value gap, as ICT coined it, is how you know it's working. It's not support and resistance. That's not what it is. ICT is not, it's not support and resistance. What it is it's showing you buyers are willing to take the offer. So when we time a strat signal, so like let's say we have our broadening formation and we go inside bar. When that breaks, we know it is bullish, it's a determined bullish signal for sure if it's true. How do we know if it's true? It has to be above this level. So when our actionable signals work, it creates a fair value gap because the buyers are taking the offer. They're willing to pay up, and then it closes higher. So the best signals with the strat, it will break. So this is our first entry, and then it closes higher. That's how you know to hold it, because if you bought it down here and it's not reversing, you get to hold it because you were correct. And then you'll see retracement, and it will continue. This is when you add to it, and then it goes boom, closes higher again. Same thing. The buyer is still taking the offer. And then we look for this to keep going until it's done. And you'll know it's done when it goes reversal. Right there, that's when it was done. So, when you look at anything, you'll see like Hood, our actionable signal, 2-2 reversal on the second 60 minute of the day, with full time frame continuity here, creates, fair value gap. What does that actually mean? Buyers are taking the offer. Our actionable signal was correct. So it closes here, and then add. I want to get more. It's working. Boom. You get to double your position size. Unlike most traders who are like, well, I'm going to let them buy it all up, and then I'm going to wait for it to retest. We don't do that. We let them sell it down, and then when our signal goes, we buy it. And then if we get more signals, we buy more. And if you get more signals, you buy more. And so when you go to yesterday on SPY, this goes 2 reversal day on a Wednesday. So you can see on Monday it went up, second day of the week it went reversal down and dropped 5 points or 6 points. That was a pretty good short. Then during the day it recovers. So come Wednesday, this goes reversal and it closes higher. You get to hold it because you bought it at 738.86 on the second 60 of the day, and it caused the reversal and it closes higher. So come this morning, it continues, you hold it. It's still good. And you can add to it as well. And the add this morning was here on the 15, this inside 15-minute signal right there. And now you can see we have another inside signal at high a day, so we might see profit taking start kicking in here, but we'll have to see. That being said, though, Hood is coming into the top of the broadening formation here for anyone trading with us this morning. Coin going into short-term exhaustion risk here. Now, if we go to the day on coin, big outside day to the upside, huge. So we can see what is coin doing. It's confirming that they bought in March. They came back in April to buy more. They came back this month to buy more. We still have 15 days left in the month. So where's coin trying to go still? back up to $500 this month. Now it's not going to happen this month, more than likely, but that still looks really good, right? As long as it stays up there. And if we go to the week, we had a hammer signal on the week, and they're still buying that this week. So this is just something, you know, these gaps and stuff on the chart. We don't need these. We're going to remove all this. We don't need it. Because we know 2-2 reversal creates a winning trade and it keeps going. But I'm messing with it to see how we can visually, I guess, get that on the chart in a way that makes sense for the strat, not, you know, whatever ICT wants to talk about. Forex pair, let's see, Euro US dollar. So Euro US dollar, so you can see it wasn't yesterday, that wasn't the signal. The signal was here. So Monday it goes inside bar, Tuesday reversal. So they bought Monday, Tuesday they reverse. That's the second day of the week. That's a short. Then it closes lower, good. Then it continues, you add to your short, and then it continues, you add to your short. So the short was Tuesday. If we go on like a 4-hour basis, there will be signals in here. So you're going to see we had the inside signal to continue that short into Tuesday's trading. And then it was a little trickier in here. You had an outside bar signal. So you're not going to have a reversal signal to trade off of. But when that goes 3-2 right here below 117.05, that was when you could have tried to short it. Closes lower, and then you add to your short in here. Down they go. And then when you're looking at Euro US dollar, you're looking to take out the bottom of the broadening formation, which is like this. So it goes up, and then we're looking for it to take that out. Now, if we go to the month on Euro, let's see. So it's inside month. It's not really doing much this month. The week, it does become a 2 down, so you have a target to take that out, and that's kind of that's about it. And you can see they're chopping them up. They go up, then down, then up, then down, and they're broadening right here. But we can see Solana, for example. I bought Solana last week when this reversed here. And you'll see this was on the first week of the month it reversed. So the second week it confirmed, but they profit took. However, it did not come back to my entry, so I get to hold it. I struggle holding above my entry. It's just because... I mean, you don't want to hold winners? I don't know. I don't know how to fix you. If you buy it at $100 and it goes to 200, why would you want to get out? It might go to 300. If you're going to get out, you want to get out when it reverses. Like, you have to realize, what are we doing as traders? It's like, well, it's going down, and then we want to buy it at the bottom when it reverses, and then if it doesn't reverse, we want to hold it because it's still going up. It's like, that's period, full stop, that's what we want. If your problem is, I don't know why it should keep going. It's because you need to focus on simultaneous breaks. When we look at simultaneous breaks, and actually we're going to go to this one. See, I'm not sure which. Yeah, here it is. So when we look at simultaneous breaks, it generates a portfolio of winners that you get to hold on to. So for example, this would be a $100,000 account invested on simultaneous breaks. So we saw 88% or 88 evidence here, semiconductor, semiconductor, semiconductor. When did this happen? This happened after our weekend video where we told you the whole market could reverse. So when we go in here and we take a look at what we said and what happened, we can go to our bottom call and you're going to see this. Oops, wrong one. But you're going to see what we said. And hopefully the sound comes through here.
No. Let me show you. Let's see what actually happened. Right here, April 5, right? This is over the weekend, but it's showing you the reconstructed. This was true. This is where it happened to you.
So here it was.
Now, if we go to
the interesting stuff, we'll see technologies. And if you look in here, tech with Qs, you got this huge pivot machine gun. So if oil starts selling back off and tech recovers, SPY starts recovering, Qs recovers, Dow, all of that stuff, this could go really fast. It could be up 10% in 1 week. That's something we're going to pay attention to. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I am saying, you know, if we start to see all of these correlated assets invert what they've been doing, that would be a really strong signal. So we're watching the week from trigger to high of week. So that's what you wanted, and it closed up there. Semis, you got exactly what you wanted. Pivot, 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 boom. Anyone short in here, taken all out in one. Sorry, I was on mute. But you can see here, if we go back, we're marking out all the targets. We're like, technologies is about to reverse. We're paying attention to this. This is very important. All of these correlated assets could invert what they were doing. And then technologies, semis, boom, boom. They bought everything. You got exactly what you wanted. Pivot, 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 boom. Anyone short in here, taken all out in 1 week. And now we don't know. Right? It's up to... And you can see, so we say, we don't know. We don't know. Are they going to keep buying or not? What we do know is you're nowhere near a 2-2 reversal down. You'd have to drop, 10% in a week to reverse that. You're nowhere near doing that. 10% though. So look at the semis. You had Marvell 3-2 week. And now we're showing you the strongest ones that we should continue watching. Marvell 3-2 week. And we're going to see more. Intel, the 3-2 week. These would be stronger names. Intel. Then you go to things like AVGO. AVGO. 2-2 week, just like the semis. Taking them out. So, yeah. So then we come back and we say, okay, they bought last week. Do they come back to buy more? That's what you want to know. So then what happens? This is the update video. Yeah. Boom. Taking them out. So they're all going to look the same. And that means most things will look weak. And that, beautifully did that. Now, if we go to Qs, you'll see up at the highs as well. And that tells you tech and semis still good. So tech, momentum hammer weak to just keep jamming. So now we're pointing out, still good. 2-2 week buy, 2 up, still good. And then we say momentum hammer actionable signal week. What is that? A momentum hammer is an actionable signal that confirms what price is already doing. So when we go and look at our actionable signal cheat sheet, one of the ways we can enter trend is a momentum hammer. And this goes up, forms a hammer, and continues up, closing higher, creating a winning position. Because a winning trade is you buy it and it closes higher than you bought it. So if we go back, we will see semis, momentum hammer week to just keep gunning. And that's going to tell you things that are just still going. MU, for example, this is leaving the range, right? It might never come back. And what I've been seeing is people are saying, like, just based on some of the earnings of these other guys coming out, MU should just blow up. Like they're saying MU to 1,000. So that, definitely could be true if we act as support around 487 to 490 over the coming weeks here. So if you want to go momentum style going into... Hey everybody, welcome to the... And you can see we then point out MU to $1,000 and let's see what happened. Weekend vid, and we're going to keep it simple. Just like last week, we said MU, it's on the move towards 1,000, and we told you as long as it stayed above this broadening support, right around $500, that was in play. It closed up 200 points, so that's a pretty good broadening expansion if I've ever seen one. That being said, those semis, we mentioned the momentum hammer week, boom, huge winning trade. Momentum hammer week, and we told you as long as it stayed above this broadening support, right around $500, that was in play. It closed up 200 points. I've ever seen one. Momentum hammer still going. Tech, momentum hammer week we mentioned in last week's weekend vid, still going, and it's called momentum because you're expanding the broadening formation. It's momentum. They're just going into the highs. So we'll see SPY. They're still doing that as well. So how do you know if it's going to keep going? If everything reverses at the same time and then it continues to reconfirm, it's still going. So it looks like identifying actionable signals such as inside bar and doing that across correlated assets, like all cryptocurrencies doing the same thing. All tech and semis doing the same thing. The whole market, every sector doing the same thing. Or maybe it's one sector, all the energy names doing the same thing. Or it's all the home builders doing the same thing. And it creates huge winning trades because when the whole market reverses, the whole market reverses. And that's what we're looking for. So when it reverses and it goes like this, it's like, boom, hold. Especially if everything just did the same thing. And if it confirms, the second it starts doing this, it's like add or hold. Boom, right? Starts taking everyone out. So when we go to some examples of, let's go to some examples of ones we didn't really talk about here, but we can go to the home builders. So if we go to home builders, let's see, I don't think it's going to let me do it in here. Let's see. So home builders is consumer discretionary. You can see we have 16 shorts on. So it's Pool, McDonald's is in there too, but Pool, PHM, DEC, Lowe's, Home Depot, Lennar, all of these, XLY discretionary. This was a long, so countering what's going on in home builders. But we can see, when did this happen? 501. What was it? It was a short. It was a simultaneous break. Every home building stock did the same thing. And this is 16%, 6%, 6%, 5%, 5%. It's like, it's just a bundle of huge winning trades. And that's not the biggest, but with options, you can magnify that as much as you want. So when we go to semiconductors, look at this. Semis, still good. Intel is still good. It's been going for multiple weeks. It hasn't reversed yet. The stuff we talked about 6 weeks ago is still happening today, this week. It's crazy. Intel, AMD, 100%, 100%, 97, 72. And there's some losers in there, but these are the ones you get out of. It only went for 1 week. These ones kept going. This is up for 7 weeks in a row. So that's what you want to do. You want to find the whole market reversing and go after it. And that's really the gist of it all. And to show you, if you want to see what these all look like together, what does it look like? Because this is literally the key to how you're going to win. It looks like, if we go to semis, if we load that data, we'll come back to it. We do see, some profit taking going on here, but it's just profit taking on Solana and that stuff. We go to SPY. You can see the 15. We had the first reversal down of the day. So it goes inside, up, 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 reversal right there. And that's where you'd reduce or take profit. So now they're stopping people out. You go to the 60, 2-2 reversal 60. So see how they reversed up in the morning, they continued up, and then reversal down. Now, is this anywhere near changing the day? No. Is it anywhere near being red on the week? No. So is this reversing everything? Right? Not so much. Now, if it's a simultaneous break, you might see more profit taking. And that's something we can go and look at. Qs, SPY, reversal. Dow Jones could go reversal. So if we're going to short anything, it would be Dow Jones because it's below the daily open. It has to be weaker today. But while this happens, VIX, they're still hitting the lows. So they're not really scared. They're just selling off or taking profit on things. VIX to lows, UVIXC to the lows. You can see they're buying energies now. So energies, they bought them on the previous 60 and they're coming back to buy a little bit more. Still a lot of inside weeks there. So there are a lot of consolidations in energies. And it looks like we have a lot of inside bars. So it's profit taking / consolidation across most of the market right now. So this is where we kind of hold off. If you want to short the weak stuff, you can. But I would just say it's profit taking. See if we can get reversals back up. And give me 1 sec. a TTO is a break and retest strategy? Kind of. So like, think of it this way. When you're looking at, so if we're looking at a monthly bar, what happens? It's like, well, it goes down maybe a little bit, and then if it's going to close bright green, it looks like this. So throughout the month, if you're above the month open still, anything red is corrective activity. So when we look at like the day, maybe the first day of the month, it goes down and then boom, reversal. Now it's starting to move and it creates a winning position. And then it goes zoop. And now we want to wait for triangle day out. So what are we waiting for? Lower lows and then continue in the direction of the month. So we look for these red bars, but we don't want to change the monthly open. So you want to let it go red, let it go red, let it go red. And then once it starts kicking the other way as a reversal here, that's when you know to go after it. So you're not buying the dip, you're buying it when it continues back in the direction of the month and reverses. So triangle day out is, it's going up. I really want to buy it. All right, let it stop people out. Then let's go for it. So like SPY, it's like, oh, you know, it goes boom. It's like, I missed the whole buy. It's like, wait for them to triangle day out. Okay, how does that look, Alex? It looks like a broadening formation. This, right here. Slight 1 penny lower low, and then it comes back in right there. That's triangle day out. It looks like a broadening formation right here. Slight lower lows to this stuff, and then right back to the highs. Or it can look like a 222. It goes up, stops people out, and then it reverses up right here and closes higher right there. Boom, back to the highs. It can look like what we saw yesterday when we timed the exact bottom of the market. Right there, triangle day out, boom, back to the highs. But you have to time it. So when we time a daily triangle day out, we use a 60. So it goes down to start the morning, and then inside 60 signal, right there. When this starts coming back up, right there. That's when we're timing it. And if you're in the 60 trend and you want to time a 60 triangle day out, you can use the 15 or the 5 minute. So you can see it makes some slight lower lows. And then this was what Sarah had, the 2215 hammer right there. And you'll see it kind of grinds. So it does not create that gap. It grind. And then right here is when that buyer starts really taking the offer and going for it. Right there. When this closes higher and stays up there, that's what we want. Because once it closes higher like this, you know it's go time. Because that's what trending looks like. So we look right now, triangle day out on the 15, right? Inside fiver right there is when they're trying to firm things up. So what you'd want to see is you want to see it close higher up in here so we can go back to the highs if we're going to keep going for it. Or we can look for the hammer on the 15 minute back in the direction of the day, the week, month, quarter, year, everyone buying, right? The second that goes green on the 15, because you now have these guys who are short that you could play against and stop out. So we want people short, and then we want to cause them to lose. Robinhood, still good. Still good. 2, 2, 2. It has not reversed. Coin, still good. 2, 2, 2 has not reversed. Solana, still good. 3, 2, 2 still has not reversed. Now there's some slight profit taking, but it has not reversed. Tesla, new 60 opens. Look at this. So we gave you, if we go back to that 5 minute, we gave you this broadening formation. If you're going to play it, it was down in here to there, and it did go up, but notice how Tesla is not strong enough to take these highs out. It's reclaiming. So what's happening? They're still consolidating. This whole broadening formation right here is still inside day Tesla. So they're still testing both sides. They're going up, then down, then up, then down, and they're probably going to start consolidating more so. So it did not work because you needed to take yesterday's highs to become a trend, and they did not. Oracle. So this is what we would just say, it's exhaustion. So they buy it. It hits our targets. That's the top of your broadening formation right there. So we had that buy in the morning. For those of you guys that were in the morning stream, this inside 15. So it went lower lows, bottom of the broadening formation, signal, boom, 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 boom. And then right when we said, I closed down my Oracle for like 100% right up in here. That was it. The buyer's gone for now. So if that buyer is going to come back, you would need to see inside 60 up as momentum. The thing with momentum, though, is it's risky because you're going into the top of a broadening formation. So if you're going to the top of it, you have to know that. Because if it doesn't work, if you buy it here and it doesn't work, it might go right and take you completely out. So we want to use a tighter stop. It'd be like the low of this at the very worst, but it needs to become a 2. You see Solana here, triangle layout, slight lower low on the 15-minute, stopping people out, getting people short. Still good. Day is green. The week is not yet, but it's setting up for next week, hopefully. The month is still green and still a signal in force. So it's just slight triangle layout, still going. Your cause will be at a loss even above the entry. What do you mean? KFIR. I didn't see exactly which one you were talking about. Why is Enphase running so hard? Because the buyers are aggressive. So one of the things we talk about is the monthly buy list, and it's anything reversal. So look at, they were going down last month, new month opens, boom, reversal. Anyone short, got to get out. So when you look in here, what happened? 2-2 day in here, beginning of May, they buy it. And then inside goes up, they buy it. Inside goes up, they buy it. Slight triangle layout, hammer, boom, right there, right there. So you can see yesterday they closed much higher. Then they came back to buy more today. And there might be news related to that, but the news does not move price. What moves price is buyers taking the offer as a reversal or as a signal. But you'll see it's across the board. So if we have the solar, there's Enphase, Run is not really going. Let me think. Solar Edge. Yep, look at Solar Edge. So see how they bought Solar Edge yesterday and then they came back to buy more? That's the big winner when they come back. Solana on the week. Solana down close to your entry. Yeah, but so KFIR, if you're going to hold something for like, let's say 3 months, if it retraces, but it doesn't reverse, that's just telling you to add. Like, this is why Solana, I'm not going in here and spending $100,000 right here. It's like, I go in here and I get like $10,000. And then once it pulls back in here, I get another $5,000, $7,000 on this. And I'm not even trading options on this. I'm buying the actual tokens and trading futures. But if you have a 2028 call and it goes down for 2 days, it's like, I think you're looking at the wrong time frames. Because if you're looking here, this is a monthly reversal. So you go to the monthly chart and you're like, oh, it hasn't reversed yet. I'm just going to hold off. I'm just going to let it go. And what we want to see is, can this thing close way up here at the end of the month? Because that would give us, the runner that we're looking for. SPY, you can see 2, 2, 1. So the 15 still has not seen that reverse. Did not work. Let's go back to the sectors and see what they're looking like. So SPY, Qs, Dow Jones, reversal. So they've all reversed at this point until you get a 60 back up. That's still true. Technologies reverse. Semis reverse slightly. They're still buying energies, so it's not a market crash. It'll be easy to recover this. But they're buying some energies, selling some profit taking, SPY and Qs. You see some financials reverse, which is more Dow Jones. Materials are still pretty weak. Biotechs are continuing down. Telecommunications still going down. Oracle came in a little bit. So it's just profit taking at this point. Still nothing really to talk about. You can say they did reverse everything, but they're not changing anything. They barely go down. So we still want to see a higher low for them. At least we'd prefer to see it. And this indicator, this is such a cool idea. I wonder Very interesting. That's crazy. ASTS from Sarah's list still going. So let's see it. 3222. So yep, still going. The range as reclaim when the candle closes? Nope, it has to be live because you can't trade when the bar's closed. That's like saying like, oh, like I'm gonna put on my day trade on Microsoft. I'm gonna do it Saturday morning. It's like can't do that. It has to be during the bar's open and trading. When are we publishing boot camp? I don't know. It's been kind of delayed from our marketing side of things. I know our main person was on vacation, supposed to be back soon, or like literally, I think it was yesterday. So gonna have to see. I have a meeting with them today. Let me see. Long-term Nokia. Yeah, I mean, you're a little late because the bottom of the broadening formation is way back in here. Now, if you're trying to invest long-term, you have all year. But the thing you have to realize is we're almost taking out all these targets here. So when you take out targets, what you want to see is corrective activity. So you want to see them, go red on the week or the month, ideally, before trying to go after it. And you can see what I mean by that. It's like it goes up. You don't want to just buy it into the highs. You want to let it go red on this month first, red on this month, and then when it starts breaking, then you're good to go. So you have to let them go corrective first. And if you really want it, you could just wait for a couple days to go red and then try and get it, but you're kind of chasing this into a big crowded position. So they could triangle they out much bigger than you might expect if they're going to continue. So I just wouldn't suggest buying it way up there. Cryptos, you can see Solana, it looks like they did slight triangle out and then another broadening formation outside 15. So they're still taking profit, still stopping people out. And indexes, we're still, just kind of waiting on that. They're still good in IWM, so IWM doesn't reverse. But SPY and Qs and tech, we'll have to see if we get those 222s. You can see Oracle went 60s inside down, so they're still taking profit there too. I have a meeting with our developer people in about 9 minutes, so we're going to be hopping off soon. Yeah, you're not going to miss anything. Well, I've got time for one more thing if you guys want to chat about it. What I'll tell you is mine the next 60s. And the next 30s. You get a new 30 in 9 minutes. So if they're going to go outside 60 back to the highs, what you would see is a 322 fund to say, fund to do as a reversal above the previous 30 in SPY, Qs, Dow Jones might have a 2-2, and then IBM might have a 2-2. Or they will confirm. They'll go 2 down 30 again, and then those 60s start getting a little bit redder. So we will have to see what that next 30 does. Does it confirm the downside on the 60 or negate? we are still seeing some profit takers in the Bitcoin and cryptos overall. So you see Solana, they're now taking more profit. And it's that 60 coming in and being red. Now, it hasn't reversed yet, but it is profit taking. The second that's red here, whoever was buying, you know, for this hour, they're no longer buying when that's red. And I'm more interested in long-term stuff. So I'm, you know, short-term, there's some fun trading opportunities, but long-term, let's see. They're still chatting it up on this Clarity Act.
Of negotiations going that we have up to this point. I want to thank Senator Lummis because she and her staff, who deserves a long weekend, they all do, but especially Chris, they thank them for their hard work. But I also want to talk to the stakeholders out here. You know, people know that I'm in disagreement with some of the banking community, but I've been with them before, I'm going to be with them again, and I'm willing to listen to ways that we can make this bill better as it moves forward, but we really must move forward. So to the stakeholders who are satisfied with the bill, great. To the ones who want more work, you have my commitment to continue to treat you in the same professional manner that I've requested of my staff all along the way. And Mr. Chair, thank you for your patience, and thank you for your leadership in getting this mark done.
Senator Blunt Rochester.
Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, and to all of the members of the committee, and to all of our staff who have spent countless hours, even through holidays, to work on this, that is because it is so consequential to our country and our economy. And because it's so consequential, it is important to get it right. For my state of Delaware, we have more crypto ATMs per capita than any other state. We've had the AARP come in. While they support the provision that was in it, they haven't put out a statement that they support the whole bill because there are still concerns. My community banks, I am concerned still. Insider trading was one of the things that, for me, people could understand. And in this environment, there is a lot of concern. And so what I hope, and while I am, again, what this is, if we don't understand it, how can we legislate? And so as we move forward, I appreciate the good faith efforts, and I think.
Yep, so here's the news. Clarity Act just passed Senate Banking Committee, 15-9, bipartisan. All Republicans and 2 Dems voted yes. Now heads to a full Senate floor, which needs 60 votes. Big win today, but it's not a law yet. It's a matter of time, guys. It's just a matter of time. And to end off the stream today, before we, let me think. Before we end off the stream, we know it's a matter of time because if you have ever read the Bible, I'm not saying you have to be a Christian, but if you've ever read the Bible, there's things it says that happen, 1,000 years later or hundreds of years later. And one of those things it says is in Revelation, I think it's 13:17. And that's the last thing we'll talk about today. Right here. It says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. What does that mean? You will not be able to transact unless you have the mark. And the only way that happens is if we have digital currencies and an AI that can track every transaction that 8 billion people make across the world at the same time. And when you look at all these data centers they're building everywhere and, all these different states in the US, that's only going to increase. And they're even talking about throwing those things up in space now, which I don't know if that's going to ever happen. But you have this huge AI race, right? If we go to the chips, you have this gigantic AI race that's going on to build AGI, an artificial intelligence that is even smarter than the smartest humans ever. Once that happens, and we have something that represents or is similar to AGI, as people are calling it, if you have data centers and you have AGI and you have cryptocurrency, you can track every transaction anyone ever makes ever on the whole planet, and the AI can manage it, which I think the beast or the system You can speculate all you want on what that's going to be, but AI has to have a part in it because you can't manage billions of people without using computers. It just, you can't. So we already know it's going to happen if you have any type of faith at all. We already know that's coming, and you can see the writing on the wall. It's like the biggest move we've seen in technology sector ever is AI, and data centers, are probably soon to follow. Probably not as hard just because of the business model there. But crypto is the other piece to that. And the other thing is, if you're an investor, the last part to this is if they're going to build, dozens of data centers and they're going to have hundreds of thousands of processors and these chips, it's like, how much does one NVIDIA chip take in gold/silver? This is another play for the next, couple of years. Let's let it play out. You can see a few grams of gold, a few grams of silver, 5 grams of silver. So there's more silver necessary than gold. And, there is different chips that require different amounts. But if you do the math, and we're going to have this AI and these chips in everything, it's going to take a lot of precious metals, a lot of manufacturing, all of that. So precious metals are another way to play this and be looking at this. Now, are they likely to move like a Bitcoin or like a cryptocurrency? Probably not. But you can see we did have a nice, 300% move in silver. And I don't think it's done, because if the AI play is true, the crypto play is true, then these precious metals, the buy is true. The thesis still holds. So that's kind of like the whole thing there. And that's really the last thing I wanted to talk about here. So we're going to end it off today. What's the bullish time frame? The monthly just reversed. So above last month's highs in crypto, or not crypto, but silver, that would be one of the stronger ones. Copper, if we go to copper miners, they're doing the same thing. And I don't have a copper ETF for you, but XCU USD, which is the copper future/commodity. Copper's been leading this. So it's still true. And if we go to Solana, we missed it while we were discussing this. But Solana, you can see triangle day out, stops everyone out, and then it starts recovering again. So you create some hammers on the 30 Solana if they're going to keep going. And if we go back to the SPY, you got the new 30s opening to see if they go reversal, give you back to the highs. And if we go to Coin and Hood, still good. They're still going today and still confirming what we know to be true there. So that's going to be it from me today. Thank you for giving me your ear and listening to what I had to say. And that's all we're going to have today. So I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Tomorrow's Friday, so we do have our public stream. And we're just going to keep talking about the strategy.